Had 3 shots of, I think 3 shots of espresso were kicking in.
There you go. That's what I needed.
It's so good. Of course, I won't go to sleep till like 2 o'clock in the morning, but.
I think we're live.
Are we live to YouTube?
Yeah, we're live to
That's
YouTube.
just like that? Boom. No warning, nothing?
Why?
We're live.
Audio is rolling.
5,
4, 3, 2, 1.
We're live.
Boom. We're live. All right. Well, welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back.
Do-do.
Gosh, I gotta stop singing songs we don't have the rights.
Well, that's safe. I think you can get away with just like
you could
10
probably get by.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, cool. We'll start things off. Thank you very much, Westwood Avenue,
Westwood
for hosting us once again.
We'd like to say thank you.
We appreciate it very much. Check out westwoodavenue.com for all your marketing, Nashville
Speaking of the
marketing
low voice,
needs.
Morgan Freeman. Did you hear about that Morgan Freeman prank last night?
No.
Man, my
I
mom.
thought you were about to tell me Morgan Freeman died.
Mom told me that last night, and I'm like, no. And she's like, yeah, CNN reported it. And then this morning, find out that CNN got like hacked or something like that, and they reported that. That's what the hacker did. They said,
Wow.
I'm like, okay, well.
Why Morgan Freeman?
I don't know. Why pick on him? I was so sad. And she told me it right before my daughter's birthday part. Like, we were about to cut the cake apart. I'm like, that's sad news, Grandma. You don't say that now. But anyways, back to who we're thankful for. Thankful that Morgan Freeman's still here on this earth entertaining us.
Oh, Andy.
And then again.
But if you need some creative marketing solutions, check out westwoodavenue.com.
If you need to be more creative on what you spread on CNN,
you need some video work or photography work or internet work or print, radio, whatever you need, they can figure out how to make it happen for you. So check out westwoodavenue.com.
What's it gonna hurt, folks? What's it gonna hurt? Is it gonna hurt anything?
No.
The full Bobby D's in the picture, I realized too.
Wow.
He made the full appearance tonight.
I reframed it.
I like it.
But other than that, I think we're ready to roll, Matt.
Are you serious?
Yeah, let's do it.
Are you serious? John, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. And John. Now we'll transition to that. And now all you see is our mugs right there because it's the Mag Adam. And Stop Podcast. And John. And let's fade back to us. Because you never know how that's going to happen each week. Hi, everyone.
So now is it right? We're video live?
We were live.
Well, no, but I mean, is it what's up on the screen on the YouTube right now?
Nothing. It's late. It's delayed. Oh, you can't pay attention to any of that stuff right now.
Right, but I'm just saying the video.
That right there.
Yeah, the video's up.
Yeah, we know.
Not our logo.
I know. Now it's up. No, we were dancing.
And
I wanted to see the dance in that time.
Right,
But I still put the logo up.
Yeah.
You know, we're kind of like one of those jam bands that just, you never know what kind of show you're going to get. You know, if you want to listen to the studio album, go home.
Yeah, right.
But if you want to see what's going to happen, pop on down and let's see what's, because you never know. Hey, at least we've, I think, moved a little bit safer past all of the, wait, hold on, it's not going up. Oh, there it is. Oh, it's not going to mess it up again. It's like, now it's just like, okay, cool.
We've ironed out most of the kinks.
We're going up a little bit.
All right. Why don't you introduce our guest there, Matt Walberg?
Gosh. John Partipilo, right next to me here. Fantastic treasure here in Nashville, Tennessee. Recent winner of, well, I can say runner-up, but it sounds like it's a bad thing. But you came in second on the Nashville scene's favorite photographer here in Nashville, Tennessee. Yeah. You know, you've won multiple awards, tons of accolades. You've photographed, spent years we'll talk about who you photographed. We'll just say Crosby, Stills, Nash right there and just throw it out right there for a whole long time. You've also had this recent picture of Tom Petty from 2013.
Yeah, it was from Bonnaroo.
Man, yeah. I heard this from a friend, but you're a Zen photographer. So that is the best way that I'm going to put that right there because you always seem to be in the right place at the right time or have been recently. But John, how are you?
I'm fine, and I just want to say how honored I am to be hanging here with you guys tonight because I listen to your podcast. And
honored is a good
awesome.
choice of words.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We really do appreciate that. It builds our souls and boosts the ego quite a bit.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
I'm a fan.
We're a fan of you, and that's going to make tonight a whole lot of fun because we're all fans of each other. We all love it. It's a bro fest.
Big love fest.
Love fest. It's mushies. It's all mushies all over here. It's tender and tender, and we might grow a little bit, and we might, enjoy each other's company and just learn a whole lot.
The reason one of the main reasons we're having you on is because you got a book coming out.
You got it.
We're going to talk about your book.
I do have a book.
You told us you got the proof of it today.
Actually, we did. The final proof is Beth English and I got it today, and we're gonna look at it and turn it in.
The proofs in
Is this right here?
I'm gonna transition here.
Well, that's not the actual book. That's a mock-up book that's very much like the book.
Okay.
And it's very close to that. But we
Cool.
wanted to we just did that on Blurb because we wanted to show people something that the book is going to look like.
Yeah.
So, it's my first book.
Look at that, man. So this is what the audience we're seeing now. I'm scrolling through it, man.
So, when did you go to Cuba? When did this photo project start?
It started in 2016, and ended up in 2017. I went.
So you were there for?
No. I was going back and forth. I went
Okay.
like 3 times. First time was like 3 weeks, and then the second time was like 2 weeks, and then the third time I went and I was shooting for PBS, but I had shot a few shots there. But I had most of the book.
And
like,
so
the
this
first
was
time.
right. When did they open it up to travel? When did that happen?
That happened in 2016. I'm
Okay,
pretty
so
sure because
wow, really?
President
Yeah,
Obama
yeah.
went there, and he went there and opened it up, and
forgot
the
it was
Rolling
that
Stones
recent.
came.
Yeah,
and played,
yeah.
And then I came,
Yeah.
and after that,
That's pretty
shortly after that-
awesome.
No, it's just no. I mean, I came shortly after.
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and,
To go
to
check
do
everything
this,
out,
and
yeah.
I went with my friend Dan Heller, who actually had planned this trip, and we were talking. And first of all, I've always wanted to go to Cuba because when I was a kid, I was affected by the Cuban Missile Crisis, and it was. I mean, I was like freaked out.
Okay,
when that was
in
going.
what way? So how old were
You
you?
was
when-
Well, I was
He
just
was
a
gonna
little.
get
no.
blown
Okay, so
Scared-
how old were you?
I
Well,
was scared to death.
You were
I
scared
can
to
only
death
imagine.
that the
Kind
Cubans
of like
were
I
gonna
am
blow you
now.
up,
It's
right?
a little bit like I am now. They were talking about nuclear war. And,
How old were you?
I was probably 7 or 8.
Is that where you grew up?
In Cuba?
Yeah.
No.
What were you doing there
No.
at 7 years old then?
No. I didn't mean it like that.
Okay.
No, but anyway, everybody was
Oh, I
talking
thought you
about.
said you were in Cuba.
No.
I was. That's what I thought you meant.
I was sitting in
Okay.
front of a TV,
at
set,
home.
terrified with everybody else in America when the Russian ships were coming and there was going to be a nuclear holocaust. And
So where was that though? Where'd you grow up?
well, I grew up in South Dakota, but I was at my grandmother's house when this was going on in Chicago.
Oh,
So-
okay.
So anyway, we were watching all this stuff, and it freaked me out, because it was going to be the end of the world, but then it wasn't, right? And then after that, I was always so curious about this mysterious place called Cuba, and of course, we couldn't go. I mean, you could get in illegally, but we couldn't go.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
I like that one a lot. I mean, there's a lot of good ones. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
but
no,
I
you
really
you
like
don't-
this
no,
one a lot.
No, I like that one too. I actually brought a print of that with me too.
Cool.
But anyway, it was, when Castro became president, they shut down, Americans couldn't go to Cuba. So Americans couldn't go to Cuba for almost 60 years. And the rest of the world could go, but not
Without
us.
jumping through some hoops. It
Yeah,
can be
without
done,
jumping
but you
through
had
some
to
hoops.
jump
You
through some
could
hoops.
get in
and go
through
to
Mexico, and
yeah.
Yeah.
But then you had to come back through U.S. Customs, and that was
Gotcha,
tough. And
gotcha.
So anyway, when I finally got to go, it was like a dream come true. It really was. And when I got there, I'm kidding you guys. The minute I got there, I was like shooting about 16, 17 hours a day. I didn't sleep for 3 weeks. I was everywhere.
How long were you there?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
The first time.
Okay.
And I went from one end of the island to the other. I mean, we were in, most people go to Cuba, they go to Havana. We went like to Baracoa,
Pull some of this stuff up.
Cienfuego, and Camagüey.
I want everyone watching to see some of these because you got some of these photos up in the gallery, right?
Yeah.
Did you have a escort?
Yeah. This I had a wonderful interpreter named Diana Chavez, and she was amazing. Diana Chavez Toledo. She goes by Diana Chavez now. And I had a driver named Brito, and we just hit it off, and we all and Dan too. I mean, Dan was with us, but I was with them, and we were driving all over the place, and it was really cool because she was sort of a tourist guide. And I didn't want to do the tourist stuff, so I was asking her stuff like, well, I want to go photograph like a illegal rooster fight, and she'd go, oh, I know the place for that, and then I'd say like, well, I want to go I'm a journalist. I want to go and do this or I want to do that. And we'd go to these places, and she would say, I think this might happen here and there. And so she was an amazing person. I really think the world of her. She's one of my best friends.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and she's now living. She left Cuba and got in here barely. I helped her get in the country, and she now is in. She's in Florida.
Wow.
And I talk to her just about every day. And
That's
we're
so
just really good
cool.
friends. I mean, we're just great.
What
She's
an
awesome.
experience through there.
Yeah, she's an awesome person. And I did all kinds of research and everything when I went there. But boy, I'm telling you, I was living with people, and we weren't staying in hotels and stuff. We were living with the people, and she knew all kinds of people, and she was always introducing me to all these different folks. And
Just
and
someone
then
that knew their way around in the
yeah,
territory
so to be able to experience that as a journalist,
Sure.
meeting people and doing all this kind of stuff is really special. A lot of people go to Havana and they go shopping and eat,
Sure.
and that's it, right?
Oh,
and
no,
then, but this was all kinds of stuff. This is all kinds
so
of really
cool.
cool stuff.
I bet. So can I ask you just?
Sure.
Everyone's seen these photos.
Oh,
now
okay,
that
sure.
Can I ask, like, okay, so where was this in your?
Okay, this was somewhere in the middle of rural Cuba. We were driving. It was raining. It was drizzling, and
That photo's stunning, man.
And
That
I was
caught me.
in the back seat of this car. Brito was driving, and I looked to my left, and I saw this thing coming, this picture coming up the road, and I told him to stop. And pare, Brito, pare, and he slammed on his brakes, and because he thought something was wrong, and I jumped.
okay.
He goes, "What's wrong?" I said, "Nothing." I jumped out of the car and I ran, and just as these guys were turning the corner, I got that shot. It was, and these are sugarcane workers,
Okay.
and it's funny because the sun is behind them. It's just peeking through a cloud, but it was kind of drizzling and rainy, and you could see the clouds and stuff. But it was just a really dramatic picture, and I saw it
Unbelievable.
coming. I just saw it coming.
How about her?
Oh, I met her in Havana, and she's a costumbrista. And what they do, if you notice, if you go down to the bottom of that picture, you'll see her license. I did this on purpose because I'm a storyteller. I tell stories. And I wanted to get a picture of this because her job in Cuba, she's licensed to charge money to tourists so they can make her picture, right? And
okay.
so that's her business,
okay.
right? But she has to be licensed by the Cuban government. But anyway, I was talking to her, and I photographed her, and I tried to give her some money, and she wouldn't take it.
Oh, fun.
She just wanted to do that.
Oh, I know the story behind this one.
Yeah, this is
Now,
great.
tell me, dude. This is one of my favorite.
This is called Pictures Are Inches. That's a store window reflecting in the other thing, in the other side of the window. And I just waited till those cars and the guy came right in the middle there, and I call that double vision. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool. It's one of my favorites too.
That's fun.
So I was looking through the book, and one thing that I was noticing, and I've been looking at video shot in Cuba and whatnot. It's old, but it's clean. Like the streets look immaculate there. Like it really looks like it's just.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a super clean.
You're right.
Country and city, like it's there's no trash on the grounds. There's no
the
garbage anywhere. It didn't look like
the Cuban people wash their sheets about 6 or 7 times a week.
Yeah.
Their bed sheets. I mean, they're the cleanest people I've ever seen in my life. I mean, you can go in a house and it's there's poverty and there's and it's the infrastructure's not the best, but you go in there, you could eat off the floor.
It's just a testament of taking pride in what you have.
Yes, exactly, and that's what I was trying to show in a lot of these shots. Instead of showing their poverty, I wanted to show their spirit and their resolve
But is it poverty? I mean, you know what I'm saying? It has a different look than like say India.
Well,
I
think
you know
that's
what I mean.
Well, they don't have a lot of stuff, and they're very clean, and it's like I don't know. I mean, it's just everything. People don't have a lot of possessions, and during the special period when the Russians left, that's when the Cubans were living really good lives until the Russians pulled out, and then their economy just went right down the tubes. I mean, that was the end of it. And there wasn't enough milk for kids. I mean, people were starving, and I think they're still recovering from that.
Yeah, it's pretty much communists like rolling the world right now. Is they're
however,
responsible for really...
I mean, the average Cuban worker makes about $15 a month. However, but here's the deal: they get free education, they get free food, their gas and utilities and stuff are very, very cheap. Let's see, free school. What else? Can't think of what else. But anyway, they get a lot of stuff there that
they're making it work for some people.
They're making it work for some people, but it's really hard. And I know a lot of young kids I talk to are really wanting to make more money and do more stuff and get out of there, and stuff like that. So, because it's kind of, I met people that have never left their hometown. I guess you could say that about some American towns too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, they never had been to Havana, or they never had been, anywhere but that place. But I know people where I grew up and never went anywhere either.
There's people that live in New York City that have never left their borough.
I know. I guess that's a bad analogy.
I mean, like that's common. I would say around the world.
And they were very curious. I mean, everywhere I went, people were really liked Americans. I mean, they liked. I mean, I got along with everybody, and they were really curious about, how we.
Because they don't have internet there. Is not.
They have internet,
but it's not very.
It's not
it's
good.
Very controlled, right?
Well,
as to what they can get access to.
Well, I mean, they're on the internet. They can get on regular internet, but the problem with the internet in most places is you pay 2 kooks for like an internet card that lasts for an hour, right? And, except that it takes about 50 minutes to get on the internet. So
right.
So by the time you get on the internet, you only get about 8 to 10 minutes of internet time. So so it's crazy.
It's just one of those I'm worried that it's going to, like, if and when the what's his name regime comes down.
I mean, Raul Castro?
When the Castros lose. I mean,
well, he's the last Castro. He's like Fidel's younger brother, and he's like 86 or something. But the guy that's the vice president now is the first man that's never been part of the revolution in Cuba. He's 50 years old. He's the guy that I don't exactly know his name. I forgot his name, but he's the guy that did all the free education. He put all that together for them in Cuba. Really pretty sharp guy from what I've heard. And I'm
just wondering what's going to happen when capitalism hits Cuba.
I don't think
going to ruin it, or are they going to have the wits about them to go, okay, well, we want some of this, but we don't want to lose our identity.
They're very much like that. They don't want the McDonald's and all that stuff. They don't want that. At least the present government doesn't want that.
Well, I'm not talking about the government. I'm talking about the people.
I don't think the people want that either. I think there's a real strong identity there.
Right.
To keep that identity. And there's something really freeing about not watching TV and just. And there's nothing there. There's not like 7-Elevens or anything like that. I mean, everything is just you're just experiencing like
real life.
Real life, yeah. It really is, and it's amazing. And there's so many beautiful places there, and I mean the ocean, and it's just amazing. It's just amazing. I was fascinated with that place. I love it. I was actually going to I was talking to somebody about like getting a place there. You can't buy a place yourself, but you can, if there's a Cuban in the mix, you can like either rent a place or buy a place, right? But now I think that's gone. Our president has screwed all that up. So unfortunately. So I don't know if that's
out of our hands. I guess.
Well, at least for 4 years.
For a little while anyway.
Maybe sooner. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
But anyway.
So how does the country survive? I mean, that's another thing. They're so cut off from the world. How do they pay for anything? I mean, how do they pay for their education? How do they pay? Well,
their education is free.
I'm not talking about. I'm talking about the government. Like, how is it funded? How do they how do they even remotely
Well,
keep anything going?
I mean, the communist government runs the restaurants, most of them.
Right.
So they make all the profit from that. They make the profits from the hotels. They make the profits from the tourists. That money doesn't go to the people. So the government's got plenty of money, and they can fund this stuff. That's how they do it.
That's
It's
wild.
communism.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a, you know.
Yeah.
So what are you hoping then? I mean, in the sense, like you got to go to Cuba, you got to go
3 times.
and take the okay, so 3 times
Yeah.
got to go to Cuba.
I want to
took
go
some-
again. I mean, I
Took
love it
some
there.
amazing photos. You've obviously had this obsession
Yeah.
since being a kid, and you get to make this book, and now the book, the proof anyway, is like right here in front of your hands. So like,
Yeah.
what are you hoping? Are you hoping this is going to open some people's eyes? Or are you just hoping this is something that people can enjoy, like your experience? Are you hoping that this is going to have like a impact here as well as there? I mean, like, or you just love it and want to put a book out because you love it?
I want people to see, like, I think a Cuban friend of mine that looked at this book told me that that I captured a lot of what, before I went to Cuba, I asked her name is Carrie Ferguson, and I said, you got to do me a favor. When I come back from Cuba, I want you to look at my photographs and tell me if I actually captured the people, I mean, and she, when I got back the first time, she looked at it and she said, yeah, you're way on this. You got it. You figured it out. This is absolutely so.
Looks like you did an amazing job. I mean, it's the vivid colors too, and that's one thing too. Is I heard I've heard like that
Colors
it's
are
vibrant.
amazing.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
brilliant over there.
Yeah, that there's a lot of Caribbean countries like that. They're very vibrant in color and stuff.
Sure.
It's
Well, their
really
natural
cool.
surroundings
Yeah.
too, for the most part, I think are pretty
Yeah.
vibrant. You look at an island,
But like the architecture too is amazing because you see this Italian architecture and all the different.
Yeah. So it's.
I mean, there's all these
like a lot
different-
of European influence. in
Very
all the
much
build-
so. Yeah. And you see one place that's absolutely incredible, like what we're looking at, and then you see something next door that's like crumbling. So I mean, the infrastructure is like, it's. I guess what happened was when the revolution started and Castro took over, he took a lot of money out of the cities and he pushed it to the rural countries because Batista had really, there was a lot of poverty in the rural Cuba and they needed money. So he took money from the cities and sent it to the rural areas. And as a result of that, the infrastructure was way down. I mean, they're making money, and I saw a lot of buildings being refurbished and stuff, but it's a real slow process. And, I think a lot of money from tourism is helping, kind of mold that. But then the hurricane came through there and messed a bunch of stuff up too. So
Yeah.
So it's always a
Always a struggle.
Always a
That's
struggle.
what life build
Yeah.
up and
and that's
comes
the
down.
story.
And build
That's
up. and it
That's the
comes
story
down.
of the Cuban people. I mean, it's just a struggle.
It's a noble.
Constant.
It's a noble story.
Yeah, they're wonderful people. I really think the world. They're just amazing.
Do you get to enjoy the music while you're out
Oh
there
my
too?
gosh, you'd go nuts.
I bet.
Oh, you guys would.
That's
love
why
it.
I want to go.
Oh, you guys would just love it. There was music everywhere. Everybody's jamming. Everybody's playing, and I got to hear, work with actually too, Iliadis Ochoa from Buena Vista Social Club.
That's wild.
He's
Tie
like
into last week's episode.
Yeah.
Old Andy Ellis getting to talk about the old right. Did you listen to your Rycooter?
No, I didn't.
Oh, come on, man. No,
I
just-
need to.
listen to
totally
last
forgot.
week's episode if you want. Now up on iTunes, podcast, and Podbean. But anyway, sorry.
But Iliadis is just incredible. I mean,
That's
He
wild.
wears he dresses in black all the time when he plays. I was calling him like I don't know. I'm not being irreverent here, but I thought he was like the Johnny Cash of Cuba. I mean,
that's a cool thing to
you
be.
know. I mean, yeah, it's a very cool thing. He's like everywhere we went, everywhere he goes. I mean, people are just. He's like a legend. I mean, he's an
That's
absolute
wild.
legend. And there's only three of the original Buena Vista.
Okay, so then in his situation, then in a communist country as a musician, I mean, I don't know. Maybe this talking politics with you probably isn't like. Of course, we didn't bring you on here to talk about like politics and everything.
Well,
But you
I
guys
mean,
talked to.
I'm
Was he living a
interested
pretty
in
high
Cuba,
life?
like-
Okay, so he's like
no,
the.
he's not. He's living a very he's living a very frugal.
But he's a celebrity.
He's a legend. Yeah, he's a
Legend.
Total, he's
Better
a
way-
legend.
better put.
He's like a living treasure.
But just living.
When I met him the first time, this is a weird story, but the second time I went, I wanted to photograph some of the Buena Vista Social Club people. I wanted
Yeah.
to get a picture of some of those people in there because there are only three of them left. They're all getting old, and they're all God forbid, but they're they're getting old. And I first went to Omaris. She's the woman that was in the band, and trying to negotiate a picture, and it was like, heck no. You can't photograph her, and I usually get my way, but I didn't get my way this time. So then I found that my interpreter, Yoli, the second interpreter I had, she found out Iliadis was playing in this place. So this little tiny place.
Yeah.
And so we went down there and we went in there, and I was sitting there. I told her, I said, I got to figure out a way to get backstage, because I don't like shooting pictures of, I want to get something. I want to get something
that someone
different.
else can't get.
Yeah, I always want to get something somebody else can't get. So I was sitting there thinking about, how am I going to do this? And Yoli goes, John, there's a guy over there. He keeps staring at you. And I went, what are you talking about? And he goes, that guy. And I look, and this guy's looking, and he kind of waves, and he comes towards me, and I'm like, who the heck? And I went, oh my gosh, there's this guy named Michael that I actually worked with, someone's in Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and he was
in Cuba.
No, he was in Cuba.
That's
at
what
this
I mean.
place.
Yeah.
So what are the odds of that, right? So he comes up and he goes, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, I'm doing a book." And I said, I really wanted to get a backstage shot of Iliad. Well, this guy worked with David Crosby. He was one of David Crosby's song arrangers, and he knew me. So he said, "Well, how much time do you need?" And I said, "Like 5 minutes." He goes, "Well, I'm his arranger, so let me work this out for you." And Yoli, my interpreter's sitting there going like, she's got this look on her face. I said, "Come on, you're going with me." And she said, "Okay." So she came back.
Serendipity smiled on you. That's pretty wild,
dude. And so,
man.
and then the guy that actually took us back there to meet him was the assistant cultural minister of Cuba, who so he brought me back, and then when I met Iliadis, and he was great.
You had like an entourage.
Yeah, and it was really cool. And he was back there drinking, and he had a nice. So I noticed what he was drinking, and after I got through with the shoot, I got a bottle of it and sent it backstage to him. And when he came on stage to play, he walked by me and went, like, "You're the man." So it was really cool, and I got a really nice shot in the book. It's in there.
Awesome. Do you want? I mean, we could show them the book. Do you have it on? Is it online at all?
I don't think it's online.
Because I was going to go to I was going to say if it's on the Cuba one, but if it's on, load more.
The amazing Beth English is here. And,
that's right.
And she
alumni here from the.
She designed the entire book, and I mean, she's amazing, and I couldn't have done it without her. She's just amazing. All I did was make the pictures. She did all.
She put it all together.
She put it all together, and we worked on stuff. Here, okay, here's the picture. This is Iliadis.
I'll get you back to the other.
Here's the shot I got backstage. Can I give this to you?
You can give it to me.
Yeah.
So when you say how the restaurants, the profits go to the state, the tourism, the profits go. So is there a basic income there? Like, do people get checks from the government? Like, how do they stay in business like that? The reason I'm asking is just because it's a society thing that just baffles me that it can work.
Well, it's communism.
I think it baffles the communists.
It kind of works, but it does. Like, I don't know. Is there a balance between? Because what's going on now is like unfeathered capitalism is not the answer to either.
Yeah, exactly.
There is no unfeathered capitalism going on there. It's just none.
No.
At all.
I'm talking about like here.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? In comparison, in contrast. So how did?
Good God, these are amazing photos.
Like, if you're born in Cuba, and you want to grow up to be a chef, was getting back to the restaurants thing, how are you allowed to do that? Are you allowed?
You're allowed. Everybody is. Education is free. You go to your college is paid for. Everything. And then when you get out of college and you start doing your profession, you can't make more than the street worker. So that's how communism works, right? So I can't tell you how many. All the cab drivers I had in Cuba. My friend Carrie Ferguson, she told me this. She said, "Ask everybody that drives you what they do, what their real profession is." And guys, I'm going to tell you something. I had doctors, dentists, engineers driving me all over the place.
What
cab
the
driver.
real?
Why is
yeah.
like
Because okay, the doctor that was driving me was only making $30 a month, and that's all he could make. That's all the government would pay
As a
him
doctor.
As a doctor, excuse me. And so he had to drive a cab because he had a family and he had to make more money so that he could feed his family because the state only paid him like a certain amount.
Goodness.
that just doesn't even.
But you get free
compute to
food.
me.
The kids get free milk till they're 7. You know, the education's free. You know, I mean, there's all this kind of stuff, and so somehow it kind of works. But then there's things like passports that cost 200 kooks. You can get a passport if you're a Cuban, but if you're a worker and you're making 200, you know, and you're making $15 a month, and you're
Yeah.
you know, it's really hard to
It's a
get
lot
all
of
that.
saving on top of
you
what
can't.
you already got to
Can't
spend. You
save.
can't, yeah.
And I think it's really harder on young people now because they're curious, they want to move on, they want to travel, they want to experience life more.
Yeah, they're getting more glimpses of the outside world.
Yeah,
than that
over the
culture's ever
internet
really
and stuff like
gotten.
that,
Yeah.
and they're going like, wow, I want to experience this.
Well, that's probably why that's why they don't let them.
And
see it in a
I
lot of
think
those
I read some
countries.
kind of a thing last year. Of course, our president stopped this now, but 80,000 people came from Cuba last year to America under the Cuban adjustment rule, which allows them to come in, and it takes them less time to be a citizen, but they can come in and they're
Yeah.
allowed to do that. Deanna came in on election day. She crossed the border on
Symbolic.
election day, got in, and
Wow.
flew to Nashville, and we, got her in. So
That's
it was cool.
wild.
It was really cool. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
You Gosh, there's so many directions I want to go, but I think one direction I think would be cool to go is because I think looking at this Cuba book and seeing all the photos and everything, you just seem, and talking about our story right then about getting backstage, you have this way of, and we've talked about it, being at the right place at the right time, even amongst other photographers, having other photographers around you.
Yeah.
And you seem to come out with photos like that car photo. A photo, in fact, if you lead in maybe with this story after I finish talking about it, because it was
Sure.
another great story you shared with me one time. But I heard that, again, the Zen photography is kind of your thing, and I believe that's kind of like you let the moment happen, and at least that's what I think. Maybe you could describe a little of that, but if you could tell the story about the photo you got to take of our last commander-in-chief on his visit to Nashville.
President Obama.
Yeah, him.
Yeah. Him.
Yeah, him. Remember him, everybody?
I miss him.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was in the presidential pool when he came, and when I was working at the Tennessean. And so the pool, there's pool photographers in the car behind, like a couple cars behind the president. And so, like, when I guess, there's some kind of protocol, but when the car stopped, the president got out and I got out and I shot this really nice picture of him with his umbrella, and I got a tap on the shoulder. Secret Service said, "You jumped out of the car too quick. You can't do that. You got to wait till this is." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Never ask permission. Always beg for.
Always ask for forgiveness.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is my first day in the pool.
Yeah.
So, well, it was the only day. I was only a pool photographer. Only
Sure,
a pool
for that
photographer
one
for
day.
one
Yeah,
day.
you
right?
weren't going to be following.
No, so what? I mean, what are they going to do? So I got the picture that I wanted, and I got back in the car, and the New York Times photographer, Washington Post photographer in there. I was like, let me see what you got, and I showed him, and they said some kind of an expletive, and
You're allowed to say here, but I get it.
yeah,
that's
and I said, "You asshole," is what they
yeah,
said.
pretty much.
And I said, "Hey, man, this is Nashville. This is my turf. This is where I live. I got to get stuff. You're with him all the time.
but
I'm only
again,
gonna be with him for a couple hours here."
you found that spot, and again, like with that car thing, you took it along with that other guy.
Yeah, it was
that
almost.
there.
The Secret Service almost did me in, but they were nice.
Hey,
They were really nice.
I bet.
It's about the anticipation. Like you kind of.
Yeah, so did you see it
It's anticipating
Yeah.
what's coming.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
waiting, and just going, okay,
Like the cart.
Well, yeah,
and
in like street photography, like you see an interesting person like walking down the street like 4 blocks away, or and you just kind of go, okay, I'm just gonna let that person come to me. You know what I mean? And you just keep waiting. And
Sometimes it's not even that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're not thinking about. What I try
Yeah.
to do is not think about it, and I just react to whatever happens in front of me. And I've been I've been called like by many people like very lucky. People always say, "God, the guy's lucky." And a friend of mine.
You think you're lucky?
I think I'm awake.
You believe it? Oh,
I wouldn't.
You know,
I wouldn't describe it
that
as
was-
luck.
that was
at
a
all.
good. That was a good.
I
That was
think
a
I'm
good.
awake, and I think I'm able to, you know.
You just
and
gave
I-
me chills, John. That was a great way to describe it. You're
sorry.
awake. I
yeah,
like
I'm
that.
awake and I'm aware of what's around
Paying
me,
attention.
and I'm
Yeah.
paying attention, but I'm not paying attention. You know what I'm saying? I'm not think. I think if you think too much, you really hurt yourself.
Yeah.
You start worrying about stuff, and like you go, "Am I gonna get this? Am I gonna get?" You
Find
know?
that balance.
Yeah, I think you just gotta believe. I know this sounds kind of woo woo, but you know,
We'll talk about woo woo too.
and I'm
later.
woo woo, I guess. But I leave it, you know, in the hands of the universe. You know, it's like, you know, I know I'm gonna get a shot. I trust that I will.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's coming from. You know, one of the things that happened just recently, I guess not recently, but like I guess it was last year. I was doing a story for Paul Polycarpou for Nashville Arts Magazine. It was called Nashville at Night, and I got this shot inside Skulls, and it was weird because they weren't going to let me in, and I said, "Can I just come in for a few minutes? I just want to get a shot." And
Why
there
weren't
was-
they going to let you in?
Well, I mean, it was because it was packed.
Oh, gotcha.
And it wasn't, you know, they were just, well, and then I went to the side door, and this really nice guy goes like, "Okay, I'm going to get you in here for a few minutes." And I said, "Cool." So I got up there. The burlesque dancer was on the stage. She was laying down, and she was doing something on the stage. You could see the whole crowd. And all of a sudden, this woman goes like this. She takes her hand and puts her over her husband's eyes. And that's the picture I got. And it was an amazing photograph. And it was just happened to be in the right place at the right time. But it was just one of those kind of things. I was in there 30 seconds and got that picture. And it was like, but I knew I was going to, but the difference is I knew I was going to get something good when I went in there. I just felt like it was going to happen.
I think though to describe your or anybody looking at your work or in saying, well, it's just the right place and the right time. Fucking duh. Like that's the job of a photojournalist.
Well,
it's not you weren't. It's not
all-
like you just happened. You got out and got in it and was in.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? Like it's not just like dumb luck that you were just there and happened to get the shot.
Sometimes
Like,
it's dumb luck.
Well, sure, but you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you're working to tell a story.
Yeah.
And you're good at it. It's.
Well, I'm a storyteller. That's what I do.
It's not like
That's the best thing I do.
Sure.
it's not I don't know. I just think that's just such a like watered down it doesn't do credit to what you're doing.
I think it
You know what
doesn't.
I'm saying? Like,
I think
I-
it
yeah,
doesn't
I know what you're
apply.
saying.
it's just not because to take a picture you have to be in the right place at the I don't think, yeah.
You could take a shit photo at the wrong place at the wrong time, or be in that place and just be in the wrong spot, like the car photo. Like you were next to the guy that didn't get that shot that you were next to. And again, it's not the matter of like you knew that spot was gonna. You stepped into it.
I saw it.
And I think that it's a matter of that feeling of knowing that, like you said, the knowing feeling. Like you just have
Yeah.
that confident feeling.
Yeah.
And so I think, to me, it's almost like music, getting a gig doesn't, you say right place, right time. That almost sounds cliche in a sense, but it's like photography, because you have so many other things, unless you're doing still photography or you're doing lighting, but in your photojournalism, and when you're trying to actually capture moments, whether it's on stage or in a field or on a street, you tend, like, I think it almost, and like you were saying, the street photography thing, you're waiting for that perfect moment and snapping at the right time. Like, I think that's why it applies in
Sure.
photography almost more than any other art medium there is.
Well, you know, there's a picture in the book of a funeral in
think I
Cuba
saw
that I
it.
was at.
I think I saw it up
And again, I'm walking around. I was in.
Isn't that it?
Yeah, I was in Santiago. I was in Santiago de Cuba. This is pure journalism here. I was in Santiago de Cuba. I was walking around, and I saw this funeral. I was in the cemetery, and I saw these people gathering and stuff, and they had the coffin there, and I just kind of walked up, and I was just kind of paying my respects, and all of a sudden the son pulled the coffin back, and the wife kissed her husband for the last time. And it was just happened right in front of me. It was just an amazing picture. A lot of people get upset about this photograph, but it's real life, and it's.
Well, a lot of people
and-
get
and-
upset about death.
But the point is, that's what I was trying to do in Cuba. I was trying to show like not just.
So why would someone get upset with you about that photo?
Well, I would in America. Well, I don't know. I mean, I've had people tell me like, oh, it's too It's just too sad. I can't watch.
It's too shocking.
It's too shocking and all this kind of stuff. But you know what? It's life, right?
That's what I say. If you're worried about if that picture offends you, then you've got an issue with death. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, and I have another.
It's speaking a moment. I mean, look at, and the thing is like, I don't know, like you can't. I guess.
Would you kiss a dead body?
You know what? If it was my wife, and absolutely after what looks like probably a lifetime that these two spent together, absolutely, dude. Are you kidding me? And I'd hope that John would be right there to take the photo of it at that exact angle, at that exact moment, which is the right place at the right time. And I mean, I just because this thing is seriously, if you been on the other side, like to where you're coming in on her left side of her face, as opposed to where you're on the right side, you wouldn't have captured that profile of his face and everything. I mean, dude, that's the thing where I'm like, okay, that's where I go, sure, you could put me there and I could take some photos. And sure, maybe I'll catch one that might be good. But to me, these are like photos that you see that you deserve to put them in a book.
Well, and Beth,
they deserve to be published and shared with the world.
And Beth paired a lot of these pictures in the book, and I made a picture of a young couple kissing, which was like almost like the first kiss, and so that picture is on one side of the book, and then the last kiss is on the other. So that was her brilliance. You know, she took my images and she paired them together and made, you know, for color and
you just gave away the book to everybody too, man. I'm just telling you. I know you look for it now. Now you know what to look for if you're paying attention.
I mean, yeah, I'm yeah, but
that's cool, man. That's really cool.
I think the difference, instead of taking pictures, I think I make them, and that's my mindset. And there's a difference.
Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, you know, taking is just, you know, snapping and hoping you're going to get it, and making is like you see something developing. Like I said, Zen photography for me is like I'm not really thinking about it, but things appear in front of you, right? They just happen. And if you're paying attention, you're not thinking about it, but you're aware of it happening. And I was aware of this happening, and I just waited. You know, most photographers, a lot of photographers would have been shooting like the minute, you know, bum, 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 you know, motor driving it. And I just waited and waited and waited. And as soon as she went down to kiss him, that's when I started to take the picture. It's like the right moment.
See, again.
You know, Cartier-Bresson used to talk about the decisive moment. Not that I'm Cartier-Bresson. The guy was an amazing photographer. French photographer. You've heard of him.
Nope. Sorry.
Henri Cartier-Bresson. Henri Cartier-Bresson. All he had was a Leica and a 50mm lens, and he's the guy that developed the decisive moment. And nowadays, so many photographers, and me included, when I worked at the Tennessean, we all have motor drives, you know, and and as soon as something was happening, you had to get the shot, you know, you're holding down.
Those are the sound like in the motorcades where it's like just going.
So I call that, instead of the decisive moment, I call that the decisive burst. You know, but I don't use after I left the paper and I started doing all this other stuff, I don't use motor drives anymore.
I mean, the only time I've ever used it is when I was shooting some sports.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't shoot sports that much.
Yeah.
And what I found is by not having a motor drive, it really forces you to wait for that moment, that decisive moment.
Sure,
and
sure.
You know, because you could be shooting and shooting and shooting, and then while you're cocking your, you know, while you're trying to, you know, advance your camera, that could have happened. You'd miss that. I mean, these things happen in milliseconds. I mean, I think I got 2 frames off of that, you know, before it was over. You know, and so that's the kind of stuff, you know. And you are going to miss stuff. You know, the other thing is risk, taking risks. And by taking risk, I don't mean like putting your life in danger, but by doing something totally different than, you know, approaching something totally different than most people would approach it. You know, that's the other thing. Risk is really important. Paul Polycarpou was talking about, really inspired me when he was at art camp talking about stuff, and he said that the art lives in the deep end of the pool, not in the shallow end of the pool. And I knew exactly what he meant, because that's what you do. You really push yourself to another level of shooting, and you go beyond all the sort of sketching and all that surface stuff, and you go really for the meat, you know. So that's what it is.
Have you ever gotten yourself into any precarious or like bad situations trying to get that shot?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Let's hear. How about a couple? Well, you've been in military situations.
Well, no, I was doing some street photography downtown one time here in town, and some dude, man, I wasn't even shooting him, but he just assumed that I was down there. He thought I was an agent or something. I mean, he was like not happy that I was down there with a camera, and came at me and was like yelling at me and was like, you know. And he was like, I want you to race and I was actually shooting film. I was shooting my 35 millimeter film. He's like, I want to race that photo. And I was like, dude, I wasn't even taking a picture of you, but it's a film. Like, what do you want to do? Open my camera up? Like, I'm sorry, you can fuck off. And I mean, he was like, I was kind of, luckily there was a cop, like I could within eyesight. But yeah, I mean, if you get out in the street and doing this photojournalism stuff like what he does, like you're gonna run into somebody that doesn't want to have their picture taken.
So,
well, let's see. Last year, candidate Trump, when he was in Franklin, I got to cover it, and you know, there's a big crowd there, and you're kind of like close, and he's telling the people how bad the media is, and you know, and how terrible we are, and then I tried to ask him a question. He told me to shut up. And
there you go.
You know, so that was pretty interesting. And then I got another. I haven't had too many situations, but I got into a situation once where some women like got really mad at me, and one girl picked up a chain and was swinging it at me, and I had to. You know, I was ducking, trying to get out of
in
the
the
way.
States or in Cuba?
Yeah, no, that doesn't happen in Cuba.
I was about to say, this really in the States? Where? Oh, really, I believe it.
People
Trust
hug
me.
you in Cuba.
Yeah, I believe it.
People try to hit you with chains.
We
in
live in
America.
one of the most dangerous countries in the world.
I'm telling you, we do. We really do. The violence here is amazing.
Henry Rollins said, he's like, of all the places I've been in the entire world, he's like, I've never felt more afraid than I have in places in America.
You know, there's no crime in Cuba. I mean, hardly any.
Because nobody has any money.
Well,
give me all your money. Okay, here you go.
but I mean, I think that if somebody did commit, you know, I mentioned that. I said, you know, there's not much crime here, and a friend of mine said, well, that's because it's a communist country, and they'll execute you if you commit a crime. Oh. You know, there's no like court. You know, there's like, you committed a crime, boom. You know, you're in jail or something. You know, and maybe that's I don't know. I don't think it's that simplistic, but yeah, I mean, it's more people are very careful not to.
Yeah, there's not
to
people,
go to
there's
jail.
not people making money off the prison system,
No.
except the government out there.
No.
But
they're interesting people, and it's really interesting. I went to you know, the Tennessean sent me. I was in Iraq. I covered the war for them in 2003, and I was over there for many months.
No
and,
shit.
And it was embedded with the 101st Airborne, and I love that. It was just amazing.
No kidding.
Yeah, no kidding. And I think I put Cuba like right up in that experience as well, because for a whole different thing.
Yeah, for a whole different reason
Yeah.
and everything. So, how long were you over there then?
The first times we were over there for months, and then you know, President Bush said, you know, mission accomplished, and then we all went home, and of course mission wasn't accomplished. And then after that, I pitched a story. I wanted to go back and follow the unit I was with from Mosul, Iraq, all the way back to United States, to Fort Campbell.
Okay.
And so Leon Alligood, who's a professor at MTSU, he was a reporter, and we both went. And
Really?
and it was really cool.
That's for the Tennessean, you said?
Yeah, for the Tennessean, yeah. Because, you know, 101st Airborne's in your backyard. I mean, you cover them.
Right around.
And well, we used to. I don't know what they do now. I don't know. I don't see anybody covering that stuff anymore at the Tennessean. I don't know. I don't get it.
Man, that's...
But it was pretty amazing, and that was an amazing. I remember I had a sat phone, and it's really interesting. The sat phone rang one day, and it was my mother, and I was like, I mean, moms can find you anywhere. I mean, in the middle of Iraq.
Well, especially if you have a satellite phone.
Well, I know, but the point is, I don't know how she got the satellite phone number. I guess my photo editor told her or something. But she actually called me, and she didn't know I was in Iraq. I didn't want to tell her because I didn't want to, you know. But somebody wrote an article in my home newspaper about me being there, and that's how she found out. So she called me, and I always remember saying, "No, I'm fine. Everything's good. I got a whole division around me. It's all good." It's like no worries.
John, did you get a
So
new
I'm-
number?
So speaking of
What are you doing in
mom
Iraq?
and home and family stuff, where was home when you were growing up? You said Chicago when you were 7, but where were you born?
I was born in South Dakota, and my mother was like Sioux Indian, and my stepfather was Italian. So that's how I got all this stuff, crazy stuff going on.
All this stuff. This is how I got all this.
All this.
This came from that.
This came from all that, and I found out, some of that was, it was a really interesting thing. And my father was in the Marine Corps, so my stepfather. So we traveled a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went everywhere. So
and then you lived with your grandma when you were.
well, I used to get
You were in Chicago. I don't know if you said you lived there, but I thought you might have said you did.
I was there a lot. It was kind of like I spent time in Chicago. I spent time in Sarasota, Florida.
Okay.
With my godfather. I spent I spent Chicago with my father's parents. Our grandparents. And my mother's parents were other places, and it was just all. It was really funny because my mother asked me one time, like, why do you like to travel so much? And I was like, Mom, we've been traveling my whole life.
That's all you ever
we
did.
went everywhere.
When did you pick up a camera?
Well, that's an interesting story too, I guess.
I was just going to
so
ask.
my
Good
mother,
on you.
my mother gave me. Look, my mom knew somehow. She knew that I was not going to have an 8 to 5 job. It was either art or nothing. She was a painter, so she got me this Brownie Hawkeye camera, and I was in Catholic school. I remember, and so I had this camera. I think it was 9 or 10 years old, and I still have it. As a matter of fact, I do. It's wonderful to have those memories.
I had my first camera.
Do you? Yeah,
Oh,
isn't
yeah.
that cool to have your
Absolutely.
first camera? It's like really important.
100%.
Yeah. So anyway, so like the nuns were spanking my classmates, and so I started documenting this.
No kidding.
And they confiscated my camera and my film, and they gave me back the camera, but I never got my film back. And I don't know. I remember. I know this sounds weird, but I had this like incredible adrenaline rush for,
While you were taking the photo.
yeah, just,
Oh, okay.
give me that, and all this kind of stuff. And I've had that before, cops in your face.
Sure.
All that kind of stuff when you're a
Sure.
journalist, you get all this. But, I was like, wow, I think I like this. This is-
Well,
wild.
what you realized is they don't want people seeing this, and that, you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
you, whether or not you actually realized that, but like that was the feeling. Is like, okay, I was capturing something that obviously they felt strong enough that they didn't want.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Well,
okay,
let me tell you how cool my mother was. So, I got in trouble and they confiscated all the stuff, and they write you a note. You got to take the note home, right?
Yeah.
So I took the note home, because they not only do they want to spank you, but they want your parents to beat the crap out of you too.
Right.
It's like
Double taxed.
Yep, double taxed. Right. Like,
Catholics, man, they're all about some punishment.
And then when you come back, we're gonna make you kneel on corn or something. Who knows what they do. Anyway, so
Never
I
heard
got
of
this
that.
note. I got this note, and I gave it to my mother, and I thought, oh, well, I'm gonna get it. And she said, do you feel like you were doing something that you wanted to do? Do you feel like it was the right thing for you to do? Why did you do this? And I said, I felt strongly about it. I just wanted to do this. And she said, well, then you did the right thing, and you're not going to get punished for that. And that's how she was. She was an artist, and she understood that. And so it was pretty cool. It was very cool. We have technical...
Oh, we're good. You guys can
and
And then
So-
it was on from there.
and from there is like, and then I decided, and then I started, playing with a camera and doing all this kind of stuff. I went to art school and all this, but then I was kind of wanting to be a writer at one point, like when I was going to school, and I thought, maybe I should be a writer. There's less stuff to carry. You got a pad and a pencil. You don't have to carry all this gear and stuff. And I was working for the school newspaper, and the photographer got sick, and I got to. And, it was like, well, you go to art school here. You take the picture. So I went, all right. So I went and shot this thing. I think it was Abby Hoffman or something, was a symposium thing. And to make a long story short, it won in one of the categories at the University of Missouri Columbia photo contest, and I got to carry cameras for 3 National Geographic photographers that summer. And when I was like a freshman in college, and I was like, wow, I was like 10 years ahead of everybody when I got back. I mean, you know what I mean? It was just like
Experience-wise.
The experience-wise was
Sure.
amazing, and I learned all these tricks, and I was like a little sponge, and I was just sucking up everything they told me, you know.
Who were the
Right.
photographers you were following?
One guy was named Walter Myers Edwards, another guy's name was Bruce Dale, and then another guy was an Indian photographer, and his name was Bates Littlehales.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot from those guys, a whole lot.
Well, you mentioned you carried their cameras. Like, you know, like, because that back in the day of
Well, I carried the
film,
equipment.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
back
carried
in
all
the
the
day,
stuff.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
film and lens. I mean, it was a bulky
Yeah.
experience carrying
Yeah, it was like
film
Well, you know, we used to
instead of SD cards.
Well, even like when I first started in journalism, you know, I mean, you know, it was all film, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you'd go out of town, you'd have to besides all the equipment, you'd have to carry like Halliburton cases that had an enlarger in one, and then all the chemicals and everything in
Mm-hmm.
another. And the first thing you did when you got in your hotel room is you turned your bathroom into a dark room.
Yeah, you had to develop the
and you
film.
had this big bulky thing that the phone went in, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and so you know you never dried the negatives. You know, you would just print wet and get this print, and you stick the phone in it, and you stick it in this thing, and it took like 22 minutes to send it. You know, and these things were big and bulky and heavy, and boy, now it's like, you know, Starbucks. You know.
Well, and so kind of back to what we were talking about earlier about right place, right time, waiting, anticipating,
Yeah.
being patient. That comes from growing up shooting film. You had to be. I mean,
Yeah.
because you had a finite amount of shots in your camera. Like, you couldn't just go willy-nilly and just start taking a bunch of photos and just hoping one of them sticks. You had to make sure that every shot counted.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's something that's definitely lost. I mean, I went through that as a younger photographer when the digital hit, and just going clicking too much, and then going
Yeah.
and sitting and wading through files. And the more experience I got, I was like, okay, I'm gonna trim some fat here and only wait for the stuff about shooting and film and stuff, and being more patient.
Yeah. Patience is really
It's
everything.
Mhm.
I mean, you got to wait. I mean, there's a picture of a car in Cuba. I think it was in Trinidad, and there's a picture of a red car, and I was sitting on a bench, and I was hoping that red car wouldn't move, and I just waiting for the right person to come by, and a guy came by on a bike, and he had a cigar in his mouth and a hat, and it was like, boom,
Yeah.
one shot, boom, got it, and that, I mean, you know, I must have sat on that bench for 45 minutes waiting for something, the right thing, and I didn't know what the right thing was, but when it came, I knew exactly.
Yeah.
When I saw it, I knew exactly what it was.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what to expect. You know, just trusting in the, you know, in the universe there.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, the other thing too is I like using a 50mm lens a lot. That'll really make you a lot better photographer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got a limited amount of.
So the 50mm, just so people that's just a shorter lens, so you have less to work with.
50mm, it's like the eye sees.
Yeah, 50 millimeters is
Yeah.
like the closest to what your eye would.
Oh, I
And
didn't know that.
It's much tougher on composition to compose stuff in there and stuff. It's because it's not wide, and so.
Sure.
I mean, I like wide angle lenses, but like my best wide is like a 35mm. That's my favorite wide angle. I don't like those super wides. I mean, sometimes they come in really handy, but you know, that's something else I learned from some guys from Geographic too. You know,
Yeah, I mean, there's
this whole book is shot with a 35, a 50, and like an 85. That's 3 lenses. That's it.
Mhm.
There's no super long. There's no like tons of gear, nothing. You know, I was just walking around with very little equipment and just
Yeah.
trying to look.
Try not to
That's
be
one thing I
obvious.
learned from National Geographic. The first thing Bates Littlehales taught me was we were photographing Jimmy Driftwood. Do you remember that guy? Wrote the Tennessee Stud. It was the Mountain View.
Oh, yeah.
Mountain View Folk Festival in Mountain View, Arkansas. And it was the first year of the folk festival, and everybody, you know, all these kids were there, and they were all camped out on Jimmy's farm and all this kind of stuff. And anyway, all these people were coming. I think Life magazine was there or something, and they had cameras that said Life on them and stuff like that. And Bates said, if anybody asks you, don't tell them we're with National Geographic. If anybody asks you who you're working
a tourist.
for, tell them you're a tourist from Idaho. And so I did. Somebody said, "Where are you guys with?" We're tourists from Idaho. And you go, "Oh, okay." They forget about you. Once they forget about you and they don't think you're in the media, then you get the great shots, man. That's when people are
Let their guard down.
Yeah, that's when they let their guard down. Exactly. If they know you're with a publication, they're going to sit there and start performing for you.
Sure.
Because they know they want to get in the paper, or they want to get in the magazine, or something like that. So,
or they don't want to be in the paper,
or they
don't want to be in the
or
magazine.
they swing a chain at you and start yelling at you. Yeah. But
Wild.
but I always try to look like a tourist. It's like pretty cool.
Just blend in.
Blend right in.
Yeah.
Walk around, and I got these Fuji cameras that are silent. They're mirrorless, so that's another thing. There's no clicking.
I love.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the electronic version of what I used to use. I used a lot of Leicas, Leica film cameras. I still have them, and very quiet. You can hardly hear the shutter. There's no mirror. It's a rangefinder. It's just like, a little noise like that.
What's the Leicas do you have? I'm gonna geek out a little bit.
Okay, I got two.
Go for it.
I got two M6s.
Oh my gosh, you want to
and
sell
4
one of
lenses?
them?
No. And I got an old M3 that a really good friend of mine named Alan Ginsberg in New York gave me. He's an amazing guy, and about 5 lenses, I think.
Oh man, I would love to have an M6.
I got 2.
That's wild.
Yeah, but then you're like then you shoot film, and then where do you get it developed? I mean,
You ship
there's
it
not
to
a lot
Seattle.
Yeah, I guess. There's
Is that
still
the only
a few
places to?
Well, no, there's
some places.
There's some places. There's nowhere here in.
Yeah,
town-
there was. There used to be a place called the Film Box in East Nashville, and you could give them film, and they would process it for you, but it would take about 2 weeks or something. And you'd be dying to see.
So
your
they were
stuff.
just sending it somewhere else to get.
I'm sure. I'm sure that's what was. I don't know what was going on.
There's some places that I've actually got like 6 or 7 rolls of film I need to get developed right now.
Yeah.
But and it's just a matter of putting it in an envelope and sending it off.
And I've got a Hasselblad
Wow.
too. I got a Hasselblad and 3 lenses, which is the bigger format film. And sometimes I just want to, I was thinking about, I'd love to do a project just with film, like an art project, and just use film, just for the heck of it, because that's what I used to do.
I take my I've started having those rolls of film. Like I've started taking like when I go on family vacation, like I've started taking like my film camera instead, and and using that. So I've that's the thing is like I've got these 7 rolls just sitting there, and I kind of know what's on them, but on some of them I have no idea. It's been so long since I shot them, and that's the kind of like the exciting thing is like when you get it back and you're like, oh man, especially if they turn out the way you wanted them to, But yeah, there's some places you can mail it to, and they'll develop the film and then send you the digital scans of it. You can pay and get the full res like digital scans of it, which is nice to have.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so you don't have to.
I used to love when I lived in Los Angeles. I used to love I could drop my film off at the Kodak place. Right there,
The little
big Kodak.
drive-up places. And
No,
stuff
it was
like
like the big main processing
Oh,
plant
whoa,
in
cool.
LA. And they had a window there, and you could drop off your Kodachrome, and you'd get it like 3 hours later.
Have you seen that documentary about the last roll of Kodachrome?
I have not.
Oh man,
I got to check this out. I've heard about
There's
this.
this documentary. So for people listening that don't know what we're talking about,
Kodachrome
Like
was
me.
a
No,
film.
I know
Kodachrome
Kodachrome, yes, it's a type of film.
was
My
easily-
favorite
Yeah,
film.
I mean, easily it's like the Fender Stratocaster Les Paul of film.
All
Like,
the
I mean, it was-
pictures in National Geographic
you saw
were shot with were shot with Kodachrome.
Yeah,
It was
like
a-
it's
Paul
it's-
Simon even wrote a song about it.
Yeah, of course,
it's-
familiar with the
it's-
song.
It's the most it's beautiful color. It just captures color really well. It's just beautiful.
It's real
film.
warm, colored,
It's
reds.
awesome. And anyway, so when Kodak went out of business or whatever they happened to them, when digital just destroyed the film business, the last roll of literally the very last roll of Kodachrome film that they made, they gave to, it was a I think it was the guy that shot the Afghan girl photo.
Yeah, that was.
the
yeah,
famous
I
National
know, familiar with the
Geographic
photo,
Afghan
yeah.
girl.
Yeah, great
I think
photo.
it was
Steve McCurry.
Yeah, I think it's
Steve
him
McCurry.
that they gave it to.
Yeah.
And they gave him this last roll, and he was just like, okay, like what a huge he understood
He
the
understood
weight
yeah.
of what was given, right? And so this
That's so
documentary
cool.
just follows him around, and I mean he knew that what was it 35
Yeah.
frames, 35
36.
frames, 36 frames. So he knew he had 36 photos, and he was like, okay, what? I'm not gonna take two of the same thing. Like, what I'm gonna do?
Sure.
So like one of the things.
What are you going to shoot? What are the
what
36
are
things
the
you're gonna
36
shoot?
frames you're gonna shoot?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Are you going to waste a couple of frames on one shot, or
Yeah.
or are you going to just try to wait for the moment and just get that terrific shot? Just that one.
And so one of the things
Is it going to be? And you can't really see it. So
Yeah.
Is it in
Yeah, no
focus?
kidding.
Is
Damn.
the exposure right?
So one of the photos
love it.
he did like a portrait of Robert De Niro. Like he somehow
That's a good
got
shot.
yeah he got in touch with Robert De Niro. They were buddies or knew, and he was like, I want to take a picture of my buddy Bob. So he and of course they you get at the end of the documentary you get to see like the final products and stuff or you get to see the
Yeah.
shots, and of course
They're
like this
awesome.
photo of Robert De Niro is just gorgeous, and you really and hearing him talk about the film and the characteristics of it and all that kind of stuff. But he was going. There was a part in it where he was going to India. Like he knew that he wanted to like finish the roll off in India. He had spent a lot of time there or whatnot, and he was trying to go through the security. And for people that don't know, like traveling with film through security and sending it through the X-rays machines can like.
We used to have these
can, like,
pouches
yeah.
that were lead lined pouches.
So when-
and you'd put your film in the lead lined pouches and put them under the thing so
yeah,
that the X-rays
okay.
wouldn't
Sure.
penetrate
Yeah.
the film. Because if they penetrated your film, your
It's
film
done.
is
It's done, right? And he knew this,
Yeah.
and he couldn't communicate to the security. He was like, I can't put this through the security because I don't think you understand. Like that, they wanted him to send his camera through.
Yeah.
because
And
they
he had-
got it. Yeah, and he was like, well, that'll ruin the film that's in this camera, and I can't. So he convinced the security woman at the checkpoint or
To
whatever
take the film out of the camera?
No, because he couldn't take the film out of the camera. He was already shooting it, so it was already like halfway through the
Oh,
film. So
halfway
he
through,
he
okay.
couldn't
I get
open
it.
the film.
No.
and so
He couldn't roll it off.
Yeah, he couldn't roll it off. So he convinced the security guard to let him take her photo to prove that it wasn't. It was like he was like, it's just a camera. Let me take your picture. I'll show you it works. And so he takes this portrait of this security guard to allow them to go through.
So
Really?
this reminds me of
that
something.
that story.
That
of
was
that
one of the
photo,
ones you had to
it's
give
just-
up.
Now this is a good point you brought up because I want to tell you something about photography. 60% of photography is solving problems,
Yeah,
and that's a good solving
Okay.
problem thing.
Okay.
sometimes
You
you got to
got-
climb.
Like
gotta
kind of like
climb
making the
somewhere,
best
yeah.
of the situation
You
you're
have
in,
to
or
solve-
problems. Like, what do you mean? Okay, so what do you
I
mean by
mean,
that?
you got to solve problems. I mean, it's not just like, oh, I'm a good photographer. My first photo editor told me photographers are a dime a dozen and good ones are 15 cents, and you better have something else going for you besides that. So you got to solve problems. You have to,
Not be
interact
scared.
with people.
You have
Yeah,
to
you
get
got
out.
to you got to talk your way out of
confidence
things.
thing, yeah.
You have to. It's really, somebody told me one time. I'm not going to mention any names, but somebody I worked with told me
You've
one
mentioned
time,
a lot of names already, by the way. So I just wanted to say, but that's all right.
somebody I used
So
to work
please,
with held up a cell phone one day and said, this is going to take your job. This is going to take your place. And I said, well, I don't think that thing doesn't know how to get access, so I don't think so.
The camera doesn't take the picture.
No,
Yeah,
it's all the photographer. It's everything. I mean, it's the person. And also, I'm going to tell you something. You got to get along with people. You have to. They have to trust you. They have to feel, safe around you. You can't just walk up to somebody and pull your camera out and stick it in their face. I mean, you have to kind of find common ground. You have to, especially when you're doing a story.
Look at that photo.
That was the day. That was when the flood was coming in. That was the 2010 flood.
Is that what's happening there?
Yeah, he's writing a song as the floodwaters are coming in. I thought it was pretty iconic. Picture for
Look at
Nashville.
that. Look at that thing.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
That's a good one.
Yeah, there was a lucky moment. This was incredibly lucky moment.
Yeah.
I was doing a story on these Mennonites, and I finally convinced them and let me photograph them. It took me a long time, but they finally gave me permission. And the father was explaining to me how this in their religion, how the sons follow in the footsteps of the father, and how God wills this. And just as he said that,
Get out of here.
This kid walks in the frame. The sky opens up. Here's the beam of light comes down, hits the barn.
Perfect spot.
I'm like, I get 2 frames off with my Leica, and that's the end of the shot.
Get out of
over.
here. Stop.
Yeah.
What about this one?
I've been told. Several people have asked me if I've been to the Crossroads. But, I get
some
that,
Robert Johnson.
I get some of
going
that
on.
sometimes. This is some friends of mine. They're wonderful. I mean, they're friends now. They're wonderful people. They're all women. They run a farm, and they do all the work and stuff like that. And they were praying at dinner. I mean, I got to just. You just get to spend so much time with people, they absolutely forget you're there.
I can't imagine that they let too many people take photos of them, especially at a candid, dinner moment or a lunch moment.
Well, it's funny because some of the Amish people I've got to photograph before are very curious about American Indians, and I think a lot of journalism is finding common ground.
Because they probably think they're still at war.
No, I don't think that's the case.
they're
No,
worried someone's gonna. They probably think they're still like.
No,
at
I
war.
think they're interested. They're very attached to the land and everything.
Sure.
And they know that Indians are like Mother
Oh
Earth.
yeah, okay.
And I think that has something to do with it. But
I could see that.
Yeah, but there's just it's so important to find common ground with people, and that's how they trust you. And you tell them, you say like, look, I want to photograph. I want to be able to photograph you, but I don't want to pose any pictures. I don't want to do anything. I just want to, be, just be quiet and, and after you haven't pulled the camera out, after you've sat down and talked with them, and, I think with these Amish people, my ex-wife and I had a mini farm in Arkansas, and we used to grow like, I don't know, blackberries and like
small carrots,
17 different kinds of vegetables. And so I started talking about companion planting with these guys. Mm-hmm. And they also make the best beer you've ever had. They make the killer beer, man.
Huh.
Really killer beer. Anyway, so you start talking about stuff like that and then stuff like that. And then finally somebody will say like, well, what do you want to do? Well, I want to document you. I'm a photographer. I want to do this. And well, okay. You seem like
you
a
gotta
pretty,
get to know 'em.
Yeah, you do. I think that's where a lot of
Helps.
people make a mistake. They just, and that's not a lot of times it's not a photographer's fault. Especially in journalism, you only got so much time. There's less time to do things now. You have to do things even quicker and stuff like that. So I understand that. So that's why I like shooting for magazines. It's going to take more time unless you're shooting musicians, and then you don't, how that is.
You got those moments.
Yeah, but you still have those moments and stuff. A lot of musicians I've photographed don't like to spend a lot of time being photographed. They want you in and out of there like as fast as you can.
Sure.
They don't want to mess around with it. They don't.
Steve McCurry, is that who he
Steve
said?
McCurry,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's who it was.
He's the guy that shot the Afghan lady.
Yeah, so I was right.
Yeah.
That's who did this.
Yeah.
So the documentary is just called "The End of an Era." Steve McCurry.
Yeah.
if you can find it on YouTube,
Yeah.
you should look it up.
He's a really great
you'll love it.
photographer. He's awesome. I will. I'll check it out.
But he's okay. Segue.
I was going to say, since we're talking about the music thing and photographing
Wayne's
musicians,
World,
this
Wayne's
is a
World.
big part of your 10-year career as a photographer, correct?
Well, but I was wanting to bring up something real quick when he's talked about Steve McCurry, because he is one of the most. He's shot some of the most iconic photos. That Afghan girl might be the most iconic cover of a magazine.
I think
ever.
it's the most recognized.
Like
National
it's got to
Geographic
be.
photograph.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it
got
is.
to be. And did you hear about the controversy about him like editing the photo, like over editing it to exceed? So this photo has lasted, for years and years and years. That cover, and then there's been some other like famous like National Geographic photographers that have gotten like outed as like manipulating their photos and not being up to the.
Well, not many of those guys do that, but I mean, there have been manipulated photos in National Geographic. I remember that one cover, or I don't know if it was the cover, but they did it on Egypt, and the pyramids, the pyramids were awfully close together, and it was like, wow, what was that angle? Because those things are not close together; they're like really far apart. And they cropped and
Sure.
did something. So there's some people that do stuff like that, but most of those guys don't. I mean, Bill Allard is an amazing photographer that has done so many things for them, and he was like a mentor. I went to like several of his workshops. I consider him a mentor. He's a friend. He's a good guy. David Allen Harvey's another one that's just an amazing photographer.
But that's a big
Steve
issue
McCurry.
in
Yeah.
the photojournalism world for
well,
sure.
there's been, there's some. I don't know why people do that. I mean, they get caught. I mean, there was a guy that was actually, not only was he posing pictures, but he was taking other people's photographs and like blending them in with his own. Or something. What? I mean, just using them like in Photoshop, like putting something here and something here, in layers and stuff like that. And then there was like some photographer, I can't remember who it was. He goes like, "Wait a minute, that looks like my picture," I mean. And eventually he got caught and he got all his awards taken away from him and got shit canned and all that kind of stuff. And it happens a lot. I mean, it doesn't happen a whole lot, but when it happens, it's usually the most horrendously stupid thing you've ever seen. And it's usually something that's like. There's all kinds of examples of this.
I just read this story about this guy. I can't remember, but his name eludes me. It doesn't really matter. But he had made a career, this is recently, like he had made a big time career, was getting paid good money.
Oh, I know you're going to talk
for photojournal, like war photography and all this kind of stuff. And this dude was straight up just like digging through piles and piles of Getty images, because like you can upload to Getty, and then magazines can pull them and all this kind of stuff.
It's maybe the same guy I was talking about.
And he was just straight up just sending these photos out as his own and putting his name on them, and then when he finally got busted for it, he like disappeared. Like nobody, like he just took his money and ran, and nobody.
Photo world is a small world.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really a small world. You can't get away with this kind of stuff. Somebody's gonna bust you.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Now, I mean, in journalism, you're allowed. The only thing you can really, it's not a manipulation, but you can do a portrait of somebody. You have to, light it, and you have to do all that, and tell them like turn your head a little bit and stuff like that. But most of the stuff you don't do anything. You allow that to happen
if you want to get that genuine.
Yeah, I think so. And again, it's like taking risks. It's like when everybody's in one place, you take a risk by going 180 around from where they are, and then hope and just know that the person that they're all photographing at some point is going to turn around or look at a friend or something behind him, and then you got a shot with the whole media behind him or something. I mean,
you're taking a lot in.
You're taking a lot in.
You got to slow a lot of things down and let
it's a matter. It's like living in the deep end instead of living in the shallow end.
Well, I can see that when like the relaxing thing and like you get in the moment, you take like when you're amped and you almost naturally get that tunnel vision. You almost get like you don't see the big picture. Like you're too just like locked in and pushed in that moment. So the fact it's like I keep getting back to that like I'm awake kind of thing, because it's like that full idea of being like.
Well, I'm aware of everything around me. I
see
that picture the
costume.
No. The sugarcane workers.
Uh-huh.
I saw that coming.
Sure.
And I,
well, you got a lot of layers.
Jumped out, and I saw it developing. You got to be able to look.
The photo's not just the workers.
Yeah.
The photo's just not the cart. The photo's like everything in that photo. Yeah. Everything that's happening there. Yeah.
The map is not the territory. Okay.
Oh. We're getting like deep.
Yeah.
Deep,
we're boring the heck out of everybody here.
Well, you know what? Yeah, we're trying to keep moving things along. But
Yeah.
let's just. I'm excited to talk about this guy right
David
here.
Crosby. And I shot
grumpy old fart.
Look at I shot
Yeah, let's get you back to this.
I
right
photographed
here.
his book cover for him when I
look
worked
at
for
that.
Crosby, Stills and Nash. That's my
Long time gone. That's
long
him right
time
there.
gone. Yeah,
That's pretty
And,
cool.
Yeah, I was going by J Party then instead of John Partipilo because everybody was making a mistake on my name, so we just changed it to John Party, and which became J Party.
J Party.
Yeah, and this is a funny story because David was kind of heavy and they wanted me to get a picture of him without show him thinner. So I had him do this, which he's doing, which hides a lot of stuff.
Sure. Oh, for the book.
Yeah, for the book.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
This was this year. I photographed him in February in Los Angeles at the Rock and Roll Hotel, the Sportsman's Lodge.
What was that for?
Actually, I had gone back. A good friend of ours that was an engineer for Crosby, Stills, Nash, Stanley Johnston, passed away suddenly, and we all went back for the memorial service. And Dave was in the same hotel I was in, and everybody else was in, and he was eating breakfast, and he said, "Hey Jay, come over here, let's have breakfast." And so I said, "Hey, I'm going to shoot some pictures because I really love all the stars and the background." And so Crosby hates to be photographed, so he's telling me in this photograph I got one more shot. That's it. Which is my favorite.
Great.
Which is my favorite picture of him. He looks like he's scolding me.
How long? So you were basically, so was it officially Crosby, Stills, Nash's tour, like photographers?
No.
So what did you do? So what was that?
I was a photographer, but I was like David and Graham's guitar tuner. I worked for Graham's studio in at Crossroads of the World, Rudy Records. I was an assistant engineer. I helped Stanley.
That's right.
In the studio. When I went on the road, I was basically the guitar tuners for David and Graham. For David and Graham, and other stuff. So there was just like all kinds of.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was. It was an amazing experience. Especially working with Crosby, he was not in his best sorts back then. He was really out there.
What years were you working with him?
Probably. Wow, let's see. Maybe late '70s, early '80s. I worked. I think I worked for them for like 15 years, and I think I left the band in '92.
There you go.
My friend Don Gooch, who was an engineer, he passed away. He was a real good mentor.
Is that Neil Young?
Yeah, that's Neil and David.
Hey, dude.
This is one of the.
Jeez, look at that.
Yeah,
photo.
we were on Neil's yacht, which is this thing that used to haul lumber from Japan to California, and they're both sailors, and we went out sailing one day, and
goodness.
Yeah, so I got this picture.
Yeah, you did.
And it was pretty cool. That's Todd
Snyder. Todd Snyder, yeah.
He's like he's a cool guy.
He is a cool, no, you're absolutely right.
Him.
He is a cool guy.
He's a good friend, too. He's a good guy. I like Todd.
Todd, come to our show.
Yes,
really,
please.
Todd, please.
That'd be a lot of fun. We'll talk to you soon.
He's awesome. I shot some of this for the East Nashvilleian music section last year on the music issue. This is a band called Financier, and I went to the airport at Cornelia Fort and had them pull out the plane, and we just, did this kind of portrait of them.
Alana. Isn't that Alana Royale?
No, that's...
I thought it looked like her for a second.
No, that's Potenza. Sarah Potenza.
And who's that guy right there?
That's Sarah Potenza's husband. Lurking in the background, creeping out.
What a photo.
Yeah. He's back there. That's Sam Bush.
Sam Bush, yeah.
His band playing.
I ran into Sam Bush.
He's awesome. The nicest guy. He's so cool. He's such a cool
on an
guy.
airplane. We were on the same flight, and nobody knew who he was. Nobody was bothering him, but I knew who he was.
You knew he was. I knew.
And I was like, I said, "Hey Sam, big fan." He goes, he was just like, "Thanks, man." Like that's all that it was in passing.
Cool.
But like he was like he was like appreciated the
Yeah.
recognition.
Oh,
Like,
cool.
Somebody on this
Someone
plane
on this
knows
plane,
who
yeah.
I am.
This is Kevin
somebody
Gordon.
on this plane knows that I'm one of the greatest mandolin players ever.
Really, he's awesome. I like this guy a lot too, Kevin Gordon. He's an amazing guy. Dave Olney. I worked on Dave's album, his new album. I shot the back side of the cover and some of the inside stuff.
So let's talk about the. A
Andrew
lot of people
Leahy.
don't
Andrew
know.
Leahy,
about,
yeah, we
when-
want him on here too.
Andrew Leahy's
I
awesome,
talked to him the other night about this.
Yeah,
When you're
he's a
shooting
good guy.
live photography or live music.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people don't know about if you're not in the know and have done it before. There's the first three rule or the first three songs.
that's
Three
it.
songs and then you're out. Like
Yeah.
rule. Like big concerts. Like most they clear the photo pit after
Yeah.
3.
They don't want you getting away with the fans. I can
Well,
understand
that and at the further along the show goes, the more wrecked the artists become. They
Yeah.
look, they sweat more, they get
Yeah.
gritty, they get gross,
Sure,
and all
yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Oh,
So
yeah,
they don't want those photos getting out. And that's a some places are better about enforcing it than
Well,
others.
the
and-
longest 3 songs I've ever had in my entire life to shoot was like Bonnaroo Elton
Fish.
John.
Oh yeah, his first three songs are
Yeah,
just really
like,
long.
I mean, it was like I think the first one he did was like Sympathy for a Friend. It was like a 9 or 10 minute version, and then he did. I mean, we were out there shooting 3 songs for almost 25 minutes.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
So that first one, right? So that that picture there of
Tom Petty?
Tom.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been like right off the bat.
You know what he was doing on that shot? It was amazing.
He was soaking it in.
It was a nice moment. You know, they were doing
soaking it
Free
in.
Fallin',
Oh,
and you
yeah.
know how you sing the song and then you go and you wait for the crowd to,
Yeah.
you know, and he just went like
taking
this.
Yeah,
it
he
all
was
in.
taking
wanted
it
to
in,
take
man.
it
Crowd's
in.
going
Yeah.
free falling, you know, and he's just, I mean, it was just a wonderful. That's Raul Malo
Yeah, I was
and,
gonna say,
and
yeah.
Ilyada Ochoa from my recent trip to Cuba, playing with the Mavericks over there, and
That's
the
so
Mavericks were
cool.
there with him, and there was an amazing Cuban group, Sweet Lizzie Project, which these young Cuban musicians are awesome. They were playing on the show as well. That's Ernest Hemingway's house in Cuba.
No,
And,
awesome.
yeah, and I actually got to go in the house.
That's
They don't let you
stunning,
in
man. Look
there,
at
and we
that
got that's
photo.
Raul. That's
I
Raul.
wish I
in
could
the-
zoom in on that stuff.
Yeah.
I can't zoom in on that.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool.
That's really nice.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, he's one of the most amazing guys to work with. Raul Malo is amazing.
I bet.
Yeah, he's such
I've
a
heard that from a lot of people here in Nashville. He's got a good reputation.
He's such
going
a
around in
wonderful
town.
man. He's a human being. He also he's an incredible singer. You know,
Yeah.
You know, I don't know a lot about stuff, but like that, but it's almost like, I mean, it's almost like he almost has like a Roy Orbison sort of kind of quality about his voice, but not. You know, I don't know if you know Roy Orbison.
Oh,
stuff,
yeah.
but
I
he's,
can hear
you know,
that,
it's
yeah.
that smoothness and that range. I don't know. He's like one of the
Yeah,
best.
yeah.
He's
No, I
like
know
one of
what
the
you're
best
saying.
singers I've ever heard. I think he's just an amazing guy.
I agree. Absolutely.
And he's
agree.
also got the biggest heart, and he's like an amazing human being too. He's like a real human being. Yeah,
That's a good thing to be.
yeah. I love that guy. He's awesome. He's just an awesome guy.
So where does the woo woo come from that you keep talking, that I keep hearing about and talking about? Like, so if I can even pull it back to this.
woo-woo.
Well, okay, so you said your mom, I kind of wanted to talk about this earlier too, because you said your mom was an artist, right?
Yeah,
What
she's
kind of
a-
artist did she? What kind
She
of-
did.
what kind of art?
She painted watercolor painter.
Really?
My mom,
Watercolors.
that's kind of ironic.
Look at
'cause
that.
Your mom a
my
watercolor painter
mom,
too?
that is her medium of choice.
Yeah, my mom
like,
too.
That was
Yeah.
that loves painting and wash. She paints in every.
Did she tell you the
but-
trick of like you put a drop of dishwashing liquid in the water so that the paint like doesn't run as much?
Really?
Yeah.
I can't wait to go home and try that with
that's a
Colin.
good
That's
one.
awesome.
That's right. Yeah, it just keeps it from, you know, like if you just go pure watercolor and it starts doing this. If you put a drop or two of like dishwashing liquid,
yeah,
you know, like
yeah.
in the water,
Palm olive or
you know,
whatever.
yeah, palm olive is
Sure.
perfect. That's
Yeah.
the best one to use.
There
as a
you
matter of
go.
fact. And you dip the brush
not
in with the
sponsored
paint,
or
and
anything,
it
so-
just it works. I mean, it's
That's pretty wild.
So I picked up these little tips.
So
you
you had just basically an artistic foundation.
Yeah.
It was allowed.
Yeah.
Man, hold on. Pull are those some of the scene covers? So these are all scene covers
these are
you've
all-
done?
These are
No.
some.
Now there's the best of.
This is best of. I got second place.
Yeah, dude. Here's the there's
This is the Cuba. This is the Cuba cover.
this one was fantastic.
This one, I didn't take the picture of Megan Barry. I saw her last night though at the.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, she's a nice lady.
We can't wait to have her on here either.
She's
On here
awesome
too.
But I did the DACA thing. You know, I'm telling
This
you.
is what we
Yeah.
think got you into, at least get you onto the Nashville scene best of, man. That's
I
that
think
was a
that's what got me in
phenomenal
there.
article.
This article here is about. I covered the DACA thing. When
wow.
Trump, when Trump
Yeah,
said that,
yeah.
all the people have to, I mean, I got in the crowd and there's this girl had one tear just coming down her. You can see that. Did you see
Jeez.
that? She has one
Oh, I
tear
have it right
coming
here.
down
Hold
her
on,
eyes.
I got it right here on the.
You got it? Okay. Yeah, I mean, it was just an amazing moment of yeah, look at that.
Man.
And you got to get something besides people carrying signs and all that.
Chills
You gotta-
like
you
fire.
gotta-
I'm either getting sick or this is really
that
just,
picture for me
hit
told
me.
the whole story of what's going on.
Because I've gotten chills so many times tonight, man. These are just epic,
Thank you.
epic photos,
Thank you.
epic moments.
But
I don't even.
those
I'm
are
not
the,
even calling
those
them,
are the
they're
those are the
moments.
storytelling elements you need. That's what I'm talking
Well,
about.
thank goodness you did
Going to the-
photojournalism.
I love photojournalism. Man, it's so much part of my style. Now I'm doing fine art and stuff. I still like I still don't manipulate. I want
Have you ever dabbled in like, still like more still photography or like, still object stuff or just
Oh, you mean
focusing,
like,
portrait photography or
Well, we kind of do it all in a newspaper, but it was really funny because I'd never done abstract photography before, really, not much. And
by abstract photography, you mean like just taking weird pictures of weird unconventional things?
well,
or...
close-ups and just abstract things, things that aren't recognizable.
Textures.
Yeah, and Paul Polycarpou from Nashville Arts called me one day, and this was last year, and he goes, we're going to do abstract Nashville. Would you like to
participate?
I said, sure. And he said, have you ever done abstract photography? I said, no. And he said, good. The deadline is December 9th. And I just went out and did it, and it came out really good. I mean, that's what I mean about taking risks, like stepping out, trying to do
outside
stuff
of your box.
Go outside of your box, do stuff you've never done before. Try new things.
Do you do any studio lighting, or you do?
Oh yeah, no. I do a lot. I mean, on the Dave Olney back cover and stuff. I lit that. I mean, I went to Brooks Institute, so I learned how to light everything. I light quite a bit of stuff. It doesn't look like it because what I was taught was to light things to make it look like they're not lit by artificial light.
Sure. Yeah.
So you make it, it's like you make it look like it's not lit. Like it's natural light.
Right.
And I think another important thing is being able to see the light. See the light that's there and
know how it's going to turn out on the film.
But I use a lot of strobes and stuff. I've done a lot of stuff like that.
I mean, it also just depends on the look you're going for and all that kind of stuff, and your style and aesthetic and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, I prefer the street.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of see that. So I almost see that as like getting it right at the source when it comes to the music side of things. Like, instead of churching it up after the fact or doing things with it, it's like if you can get the right sound, capture it right there, straight to the analog or straight to the audio, like digital, whatever medium you're using.
Perfect.
But getting the sound right, not like, we'll fix it in post or we'll EQ it later.
Pull up, go to, you're already on Instagram right there, right?
I can, yeah.
Check out an @ you need to follow this. I don't know if it's a male or female or who's shooting this. @ Harmony Halo,
Oh, cool.
I think is the name of the artist. Look at this person's
Oh
artwork.
my goodness. This is
So
wonderful.
this is one of those. This is a photographer that I follow on the
It's gorgeous stuff.
and
All lit too.
he has a very consistent style of look.
Yeah.
That he shoots against. He light, like the one light.
Yeah, that's beautiful
Look.
stuff.
He's not adding any. But I just want to know like what scene this dude is tapped into, because I don't know. I'm gonna just use
at that.
dude
Isn't that
in the generic term of these people in these costumes.
Yeah, where does he find these people?
I have no idea.
who's making
but
the costumes?
His feed is endless. Like he is just like.
Do you think he's setting up all the?
I have a feeling that there's like
This
a
almost
club
looks like this
there's
looks
a-
like theatrical to me.
but it
It's really
is,
cool.
But
It's
I
very theatrical.
But I think it's like a club scene.
I don't think people are just hanging. There's a city in somewhere.
I think this dude is like this is like a.
Is it a dude? I mean,
I'm using dude in the.
Oh, okay.
Like I don't.
Could be
know.
a dudette.
I don't know. Yeah, Harmony Halo. I have no idea.
but it's really nice.
But
That's cool.
It's like Rembrandt's or something.
yeah, it's
Paintings.
very exactly. That's what
Yeah.
I was looking for. But.
Yeah.
What if you followed that person and you kept scrolling? I mean, it's endless how many people he's photographing or she or whoever, and it's like they're tapped into this scene. And I feel like this is just like he's at this club and he's just
pulling random people.
Yeah, and he's just setting up a studio and he just grabs like he's doing like a street studio thing, like, and it's like when they're going into these clubs and stuff.
That's wild.
But with any artist, it's about your body of work and and like having a theme and like photojournalism.
It's a style.
It's a thing. But like
Have your own style.
finding that thing that nobody else is is really getting into.
Sure.
And you can make some noise. But I just stumbled across this person's feed and it just blew me away. It's wonderful portrait photography.
Yeah.
But just the
But
characters.
it's classic. It's almost like
classic.
a painting.
It's
Yeah.
it's so beautiful.
It's very
Really
Rembrandt.
cool. Yeah,
like-
a lot of influences, obviously, but modern and,
But I'm telling you, man, some of the costumes that some of these people are
Old school.
wearing.
Well, even the lighting is that way.
sure.
And when you see these costumes, you're like, okay, that is that person's like alter ego. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like they just, what am I going to throw to the
Yeah,
club
could be,
tonight?
sure.
Like,
I don't know.
Is like they,
this might
you
be
know,
a place. That might be a
you know,
place. to
they
be.
just like are.
Isn't that what
pretty
isn't that what everyone dresses like in Ibiza? I'm not sure. Isn't that what it is? I've never been, so I,
I mean,
don't know.
look at this stuff.
I
It's
know,
just,
man.
it's just. So
Well, I like the model.
wild.
Where's he getting the model?
That's what
That's what I'm
Amazing.
saying.
Amazing.
He's just in this. They're
Look
in
at
this
this.
scene.
It's wild. Jeez.
Yeah. And it's a good. I showed that to Robert Austin, and he about shit.
You know,
I-
he's using two lights. He's using a light on the background.
Sometimes.
and the red stuff. Yeah. and
Sometimes he is. Sometimes
then- yeah,
he's
it
just
looks like he's using a softbox too.
Oh, absolutely.
on this
but,
stuff.
I mean,
it's
you
really
see-
nice lighting. Though.
You see these.
Look at that.
These
It's freaking
Wow.
wild.
Is
that looks like Europe. That sounds.
No, it looks like the train chasing the hotel.
Yeah. And that's what I'm
wild.
saying. Like, either this guy's tapped into some scene that's worldwide that he just knows where all these freak parties are, or it's just one.
Why do all these?
I
Why do a
bet
lot
I
of these
would
people,
not put it past the
Right?
people of this earth. I
Yeah,
guarantee it.
Why do a lot of these people look like vampires? I don't understand.
You know what?
They are.
They're doing their own thing.
No, this
They
is just
are.
terrific stuff.
I like it.
this guy's stuff or girl. I don't know if it's good.
Well, we like your stuff, John.
Well, thank you.
We really do. And
Well, everybody has a different style, you know. So
everyone, their own style. I think everyone should
Yeah.
have their own style and aspire to create their own.
You know, I'm
And
doing something I've never done before this year, and I'm teaching 1 day a week. I'm teaching at
no way.
NOC, a school of art, and I'm teaching photojournalism.
I knew that. I was just trying to make it sound
Yeah,
like I didn't know.
and- I know you know this, but I've never done this before.
That's
you know?
cool.
I mean, this is only my second
Has
semester.
it been something you wanted to do, or is it something that just came out like and you were like, oh, okay, cool?
My former my photo editor at the Tennessean, he doesn't work at the Tennessee anymore, but his name is Tom Stanford, and
Nobody works at the Tennessean anymore.
Sounds like it.
yeah. I mean, it just got to the point where, like when Peter Cooper left, I went, I got to go too. This is enough. No, but he's the director of the photography there at NOC, and he called me up and said, I think you'd make a really good. We went out to lunch, and he said, I think you'd make a really good teacher. And I said, oh man, I never did that before. It's kind of weird. And anyway, he talked me into it, and I got to thinking about it. So many people have helped me
Yeah.
in my career and given
Sure.
me breaks and stuff.
Sure.
I think you can't just be a taker. You got to give back, right?
Yeah.
So teaching for me, I'm trying to give back knowledge and things to my students, young students, young kids. And there's some of them are former military, they went through the military and
Sure.
are there too. They're awesome, just as awesome. But, it's nice to be able to give back to your art a little bit and give them some.
That's your job as an artist.
Yeah,
If you make it to that point and you've had that many experience,
Yeah.
and regardless of whether it's in
So
a
it's a nice
classroom environment,
it's
or,
a nice experience. I mean, it's like I feel good about
good
it.
for you.
Yeah.
Good for them too. and
Yeah,
good for
I
the
guess.
rest of
I mean, I
everyone.
hope so. I don't know what they
Interesting
think of me.
that the art schools it's a photojournalism class.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
doesn't seem like something that would be part of their curriculum.
Well, but here's what I tell them, and it is in a way, because I don't care if you're a fashion photographer or what you're doing. You still have to learn how to deal with people. You have to learn how to make people comfortable. You have to get people to trust you. And look, if you're in a studio and you've got a subject in front of you, and like this guy you were talking to, maybe this is for a magazine or something. You still got art directors, you got all kinds of people in there, that you got to settle down, you got to work
Yeah.
with, and it's not easy. So,
Yeah.
and you know what I'm talking about.
Wrangling
So,
cats, man.
Yeah. So you still have to learn how to
Yeah, and the more
deal
you
with
do it, the
people.
better you're gonna.
And I think photojournalism teaches people how to do that.
Sure.
I mean, I've had some students say, "I don't know why I have to take this because," and I go like, "Well, that's what I tell them." I said, "Well,
is it a required course for the photography majors?
I'm not really sure, but I got 15 in one class and 13 in another. So, and the class before that, there was 5 kids in there. So it's a lot of kids are taking it. I guess they're
Good.
curious about it. I don't know. I don't know what they think or think like what they're they seem to be pretty cool. All of them are pretty cool.
If you were to tell me that all the photojournalism work you've done in the wild doesn't apply to art or couldn't be taught in art school, I'd be pretty it's just amazing.
Well, it is an art, I think.
Yeah, absolutely,
weird
dude.
sort
It's
of way.
it is on its. And the thing is because the cool thing is you can take pretty much almost every photo we've seen tonight of yours. You could put it in its own on its own, and it might take on a new context, but it still could be viewed as as art. You know, it's maybe not in the sense where like
I think that's. I mean, I went to art school
create it from
instead
scratch.
of. I
But
went to art school instead of photojournalism school, and so I think it's a different sort of mentality, a different sort of thing. I mean, you're looking at paintings and great my mother would always give me books on the masters and the lighting. You could see the lighting and all that kind of stuff. So I think that really affected my work. As a matter of fact, I dedicated my book to my mother, who passed away several years ago. But so much of my art and everything was so much coming from her. So I dedicated the book to her because I thought,
that's beautiful, man.
She was really a wonderful person.
That's great.
And every time I think of, a lot of times, you take a picture and you think of your mom because she's the one that like made all this happen for you,
Yeah.
and gently nudging you here and there, and like that. So
Well, you're a gentleman, and you really have put a huge impact.
There are some people that tell you I'm a real pain in the ass.
Well,
too.
that's different.
So.
That's all right. You can still be that way. But I'll tell you what, man.
Any editor I worked with will tell you I'm a big pain in the ass.
Well,
so
you obviously
because I'm a perfectionist.
Yeah,
I
you try to get it in there. Well, that's
Yeah.
impossible. But it's really cool in the pursuit of that and getting to see people like you kind of try to capture that, and for everyone else to share. But I think it's
to that point, anybody that's ever had to deal with an editor knows that on the other side of the coin,
remember that joke?
Dealing
about
with
the editor?
editors are the worst.
Go for it.
What do you do for? I don't know if I should say this.
Go for it.
But I think the standard joke is, don't tell my mother I'm an editor. She thinks I'm a pimp in a whorehouse in New Orleans.
Oh yeah.
So
I'd be
that's
better off.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly. That's
gotcha,
the sort of the
Don't
joke.
tell her I'm a musician.
Yeah,
tell her I own a whorehouse. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I
It's that
gotcha.
same thing.
Yeah, I could see
But
that.
editors are important, and they do an important job. But you get this. There's always this friction, but you know what? That's part of the creative process. The fighting and the pushing and the
forging diamonds.
Yeah. That's part of it.
I think so.
I think it's always been that way. I mean, I look at you look at all these guys like W. Eugene Smith, all these guys that were great artists and worked for Life magazine back in the 40s, and they were all fighting with their editors. And I mean, W. Eugene Smith quit because they didn't run his pictures like they wanted them. I mean, this is an age-old problem with photographers and editors.
Yeah. Well,
so
King's wanting to change composers' music and shit. It's happened since.
But you know what? And I really believe this. I think that art does better under duress than it does under
people
like nice calm thing. Duress makes you push harder.
Tying it back to the Cuba thing and things going on here and things that and not here but in just the world today and everything.
It's a mess out there.
But you know what? Out of duress, and you talk about the people of Cuba that have to obviously go through a lot of different struggles than we go through, but they have that. But they have that bond and they have that family and that resolve. I totally agree. Like I think that, and especially like there's not there's not an interesting story out there that I haven't heard of that didn't involve a large amount of stress, duress, and like impact or something, some conflict or something that's happened.
Yeah. If it's too easy, and then you just don't get to that. You don't get to that deep end of the pool.
You don't survive that long. No, because you can't swim in it.
Yeah.
You can't get out. It's
But then every once in a while, someone can break that mold. Like, or you say that like great art comes from suffering and pain and all that kind of stuff.
No, I didn't say that.
No, I know, but that's sometimes the mentality is like the best artists are the tortured artists. Like that
some
myth,
of the best
right?
art, some but not all.
But Seinfeld has his new document or his new stand-up thing, and he says, "Would I have been funnier had I been born raised in a whorehouse in Des Moines, Iowa?
Probably.
But this is what I had to work. But I was raised in the suburbs by a really healthy family, and not I don't know why I'm so messed up.
Did you guys ever see that Gary Shandling show? That was
great
show.
man.
That guy was hilarious.
Yeah.
Hey now.
The old one, yeah, that was. I'm trying to think. It was '80s, wasn't that? That was like late '80s, early '90s.
But didn't Seinfeld have something to do with that? Was he a writer?
sure.
Or something?
Well, they were just really good friends.
Yeah. Okay.
And
okay. But I thought he had something to do with the show.
No. They filmed them like at the same in the same studio.
Oh, okay.
And him and Gary Shandling were just like buddies, and would talk.
I could see them both in the same room.
Yeah.
They could have. They would have been both hanging out.
I've heard
quite a bit.
I've saw an interview with him, and they were walking through the set, and he was like, man, when I was just stressing too much about the show, I'd give Gary a call, and we would just meet up and walk down get our coffee and just bitch about our shows.
You guys ever remember? I'm dating myself, but you guys ever remember a show called The Howdy Doody Show?
Oh yeah, man.
No,
I don't remember watching. I know of it.
I know of it, but I do not
there
remember
you go.
it.
Buffalo
That's
Bob.
the best way to put
Well,
it.
the guy that was the head of the show was Buffalo Bob, right?
Yeah.
So when I was in college, I got to shoot for the newspaper. I got to shoot Buffalo Bob at one of these symposium things you do.
So was that like your first
No.
you weren't paid, so it was in pro gig, but what was your first like published photo?
Oh wow. I think I was in college and I had something published.
Wait,
in
you just
Associate-
said that was how old were you when you did the Howdy Doody thing?
No, I was in college.
Oh, you were in college.
I was in college.
Okay.
No, but Buffalo Bob from the Howdy Doody show
Yeah.
came to the university, and
okay.
and they had a peanut gallery and all this kind of stuff. And, Buffalo Bob was, Buffalo Bob, all this stuff. And so I got to go backstage after the show to photograph Buffalo Bob. And
that was it, huh?
I went back there and I said, hey, Buffalo Bob, I just want to let you know that, man, I was a big fan of yours and stuff like that. And he opened this thing and took out a bottle of booze and went, just shot back a shot and just said, thanks.
Everybody
And
is.
then my whole
Yeah, and it was
my whole
crushed.
Buffalo-
It was gone.
And I never told anybody that ever again.
That
And
you
it was
were a
like
big
one of the
fan.
first things I learned.
No.
Yeah, Buffalo Bob crushed me. It was like
Oh
wow.
no, Buffalo Bob.
They say never meet your heroes.
No, and it never worked for your heroes. I mean, you should work for your hero. You just see that. I think your heroes are. You build them up so much, you forget they're human
They're
beings.
flawed.
And, yeah, they're
Most
like
them
all of
were
us
really
are. All of us are
flawed.
human beings.
Really flawed.
I mean, I really regret that I turned down that internship working for Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, he
my
is too.
Talk about your heroes, just heartbroken.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
What a guy.
What a guy, old heart.
All right. On that note, we're rounding third. We're at third base.
I mean, that was yeah,
But
Harvey Weinstein. How did he get it?
I know. How did he weasel his
you
way
said
in
don't
here?
work for your
Well,
heroes, man.
I
I'm
know.
just,
He's
I'm
off.
just-
He's
I'm
off
just
getting
so-
cured off the sex
I mean,
addiction. I think right now. What an
Asshole.
asshole.
Let me rephrase
What
that.
an asshole.
Let me rephrase that. Don't work for your heroes if you expect them to.
They're gonna
be,
rape you. Give me a break. That guy should be.
Yeah,
Anyways.
that guy should be.
So, anyways, we're gonna move into a little bit of the question or rapid, or the
Okay.
the not rapid fire, but we got.
They're never rapid.
They're never rapid, but we got to do the questions that if you watch us, you should know you're gonna get asked.
Oh,
them.
God. Okay.
So, hamburger, hot dog, or pizza?
Hot dog.
Where's your favorite place in Nashville to get a hot dog?
I dream of Weenie.
Yeah, isn't that the bus out in East
Yeah,
Nashville?
it's the Volkswagen bus.
The stationary one.
Yeah,
now?
I love I Dream of Weenie.
Awesome. There
I
you
love
go.
the name too.
That's a great name.
Yeah.
It's clever.
Yeah.
We got some good hot diggity dog. I dream of weenie.
Yeah.
Farmer's Market.
They got a good one. Which one's there? Oh yeah, you were telling me about that place.
The beer garden at the
beer garden.
whatever.
Oh yeah,
At
that place
the
is
Farmer's
good.
Market,
There's a couple
man,
of good
they're-
hot
Oh
dog
man, we
places.
got a good dog
Their
here in
Tennessee
town.
hot dog is awesome.
Yeah.
So
Well, in the let's change it up. In the movie of your life, we're making a movie about you in your life. What actress would play your mother? Who would play your mother?
Oh my gosh.
I think that might be my favorite question.
I think
that's
so.
a curtain.
Mine now.
Wow.
Because it makes everyone go the same reaction every time.
Yikes. I know. I never. God, you guys threw me.
There's
on
never
that
a
one.
right answer.
And
or
it can-
a wrong
okay,
answer.
and you can-
right or
you
wrong.
can-
There
you
is
can-
all the answers are right.
Yeah,
There's
and
no
I know,
wrong.
I know
you
that.
can
Yeah.
you
I
can
know that.
say
I'm just
okay,
trying to- I'm
well,
just trying to pick one.
and you could pick a very young modern actress now that would play her as when you were a child. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like It doesn't have to be an older actress.
Wow.
It could be.
Yeah, it could be an older actress. I maybe,
Doesn't have to look like her. Doesn't have to do that. But
Yeah.
who would play? You know,
I don't know. Maybe Lauren Bacall.
Lauren Bacall.
Who
My
is
mother was
she?
gorgeous. She played in Casablanca.
Oh,
Okay.
With,
off of Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah.
So she okay. Yeah.
she was a real classy looking.
Yeah.
lady, and so was my mother.
How they'd say with that classy broad. She's a classy dame.
I got a picture of my mother in my Facebook page, and like from when she was a young woman and all made up and her hair and stuff, and she was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was very beautiful.
Great.
Lauren Bacall.
Lauren Bacall.
And she was tough like that too.
Huh.
You know, she would take anything off anybody. You know, she
I
was
love
tough,
it.
tough lady.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to be.
Yeah. So she
Tough
was
lady.
beautiful and
I
tough.
strive to be a tough lady every day. I try really hard, but
That's a hard. That is a rough
isn't that a good
one.
question?
Yeah,
I
you
like.
got- it makes you
Adam
really
came in.
think.
That's a good one.
I'm like, whoa.
All right, so Back to the Future. No, I'm sorry. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, or Karate Kid.
Oh well, I love Karate Kid.
All right.
I'm sorry, I do.
You
I
ever
love-
been punched in the face?
a few times.
Yeah.
I took martial arts.
You ever,
so,
did you ever
so
punch anybody else in the face?
I try not to.
Yeah.
But I don't believe in fighting. I think martial arts is good for.
You're a lover,
exercise.
not a fighter.
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Oh man, it gets you right in the head, man.
But
Gets you right where you need to be.
Yeah.
Karate, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Karate Kid is amazing. I don't know. I guess it's like, you know, wax on, wax
Sure.
on. You know, it's
Woo woo.
so cool. It's very woo.
And I don't think we answered that. Where did the woo woo come from?
Um,
The woohoo. Do you think you it naturally, or do you think it's
Well,
part
I
of
was-
your Native American?
I think it came naturally, and then I Beth English is woo woo, and a lot of my friends are woo woo, and I don't know. We all sort of
artsy fartsy is the way I
yeah,
like
you know,
to put
artists are woo woo.
Yeah,
you
we
get
sure
into
are.
an artist community, and all of a sudden you start realizing that you start like,
Oh,
yeah,
there's other
that's-
people here that think weird like
yeah,
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know,
And
and I
try
think,
to find the weird
you know,
explanations
I want to tell
for
you.
things.
I want to tell you too. I lived in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
California, and worked with a lot of woo woo.
I've heard of it.
Crazy people there. I worked with Timothy Leary,
Oh.
Dr. Leary, and I
Really?
yeah, I did, and
When you say worked,
Worked. Yeah. I was, yeah.
he was doing this.
let's talk about the work you did with
Yeah,
Timothy
so-
Leary.
yeah. No shit.
He was doing this symposium and about computers. He had this program that you put these things on your head, and you look at the computer screen and you think with your mind, and it makes like, you know, Icarus fly, and if Icarus doesn't fly, if you don't make him fly enough, he crashes into the sun.
What?
Yeah, Leary was all crazy
It's
about
like
this.
that thing on the science center.
And then a guy named Dr. Patrick Flanagan, I worked with him. I spent a lot of time with him. He's the guy that did Pyramid Power.
Really?
The book. Yeah, and he was a friend of mine. He's still around. Dr. Leary passed away
a while ago.
Yeah.
a while ago.
When I was in high
but
school,
he was the most amazing guy.
I can only
And,
imagine.
And I met him through a friend, and I ended up working with him for about a couple of months. And he told me, he asked me some questions, and we had some synchronous things that we had people that we knew and stuff like that.
Sure.
And he told me he always liked to work with people he had synchronicities with. And
I love it.
And that he just never
I'm
would
with
work with
it.
anybody.
I'm
who was
with
like
him on that.
No, I know. I know.
I'm
what you
with
mean.
him on that. That's
Yeah.
honestly for me. It's the way that I know I'm going in the right direction.
Me too.
It's the synchronous. It's that feeling of things are just lining into place, and the thing is that's good because when you realize things aren't lining up or you're not seeing those signs, you gotta adjust. You gotta,
And I like
course correct.
crystals. I mean, they make
White Castle or crystals or
I like rock crystals and
rock
White
crystals,
Castle's
just
good
making
too.
sure.
Yeah. White Castle.
They end up rocks either way.
Let me ask
so.
you a question.
Okay, go for
White
it.
Castle or Crystal?
No, neither.
Crystal, hands down.
Crystal.
I
Crystal.
won't-
I had
if
to.
I
Crystal
to.
when I did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
when
I
I
made
don't do
those
it anymore.
mistakes
I'm the same way.
long time ago.
That's a long time ago.
Gross.
Yeah, it is
Anyways.
gross. It is gross. No, but I mean, I grew up in woo woo. You know, I was
Yeah,
with all kinds
I was
of woo
gonna say.
and then you're with Crosby, Stills and Nash. And
Yeah.
kind of woo woo.
So you've just had a heavy adult dose of woo woo your entire life.
Pretty much. You know,
There's
and
a lot-
now I'm hanging out with people that are woo woo, which is wonderful. It's wonderful. I feel relaxed and at home.
I think so.
Yeah, it's
I can
much
dig
nicer.
that.
Now you guys, you know,
We're woo woo. I'm woo woo.
When I was in high school, I did a research paper on Timothy Leary.
did you really?
Yeah, I got. It was like
I don't think you got graded very high on that, did you?
it was a good paper.
It was a good pay. Did you get graded high?
I have all his books.
Yeah, right. I don't remember, but actually, No, it wasn't a research paper. It was I was in detention, and I had to like write. I had to copy something out.
That's when the teacher pulls out figures.
Yeah, and so I wrote
Livingston, drugs. This kid's got no chance. He's going to be on a podcast when he's 30 something.
Also, like when you live in California, you run into like woo
woo.
I mean, magicians. I mean, not the ones that work at the White Castle. You're right, guys that are out there actually practicing magic. And, and what do they call the
witches?
Sorcerers.
No, yeah, but they're not.
Wiccans.
Wiccans. You run into Wiccans, and you just sort of
carnies.
Run into carnies, or they're kind of,
all those kinds of things.
Charlatans.
There's all kinds of palm readers,
bards. What's the next question? Do we have any more questions? Was that it? We did the Back to the Future. We did the.
You would think we would get better at remembering our own
Are you at this late at night?
Jeez,
you kidding me? We have another question. I guess is it the final question?
Sure, it can be.
John, I know you love this city, but it's gonna be it's your last night or your last day rather.
Okay. In Nashville?
We want to know, and you're not like, you're just going away for a long time, not going to be back, because you're actually going to be gone for 2 weeks. By the time you get back, it's going to be a completely different city with the rate things are going. So what are you going to do on your last day in Nashville?
My last day in Nashville, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get up early in the morning, like I do every morning, and walk my dog, Lucille, Border Collie, take a nice long walk in the park, Shelby Park. She loves walking there, so we walk in the mornings. And then, let's see, probably going to go to Marché for breakfast. Love that place. One of my favorite places. And then, let's see, what else am I going to do? It's going to be a lot of eating, I think.
That's all right. That's typically what a lot of the answers are. So where else are you eating?
So I'm going to go to, oh, wow.
More importantly, where are you going to be taking pictures at?
Oh, wow. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go down Broadway.
Yeah.
Lower Broad. I'm gonna. There's a lot of places I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go all over the place. I'm gonna go to. Wow. Probably the Parthenon.
Mm-hmm.
There's some. I actually shot a couple getting married there one time, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna go to a lot of different places. I'm gonna go to some homeless places. Because I like that's part of what I like to do. I like to build those people up. Okay, then I'm gonna go to. Let's see where else. I'm gonna have to get Dino's in there somewhere.
All right,
I love Dino's.
There you go.
That's a.
You're gonna get a burger at Dino's.
I'm gonna get a burger at Dino's. That place is awesome.
Then you're gonna go over to Hachima, chase it with a hot dog.
No. I'm not that. I don't eat that much.
That's all right. You can on your last day. You're allowed. You're totally allowed.
I'm gonna start pigging out.
Totally allowed.
I'm gonna pig out in Nashville.
You gotta take it with you.
Yeah, and then oh, Beth, I forgot. What's the name of the place we go to at the huh? No, the place we go at the Entrepreneur Center. Pinewood Social.
Oh yeah,
love that place.
That place is great.
I'm gonna.
Never been there.
Oh my
man,
gosh, it's the best food.
It's fun. It's good
incredible.
food, good drinks. It's a good vibe.
It really is.
They got a grotto. I mean, it's cool. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Grotto season's about over. But
and then and then I'm gonna go out and shoot some more, and then I'm gonna go, and then I'm gonna go down to the 5 spot, and I'm gonna have a glass of Jameson's on the rocks. That's my preferred drink.
Nice.
And then I'm gonna go down to the Family Wash, and I'm gonna watch. You had Reeves Gabrels up there and stuff. Hopefully, him and Jamie and all those guys would be playing.
Cool.
You know who Reeves is, right? You do.
No.
Okay, he used to play with David Bowie, but now he's the lead guitar player for the Clash, or something.
Really?
Yeah. I mean the Cure. Excuse me, not the Clash. The Cure. What am I thinking? The Cure. And he plays down there. I mean, he's like he plays with Tim Carroll, and he plays with Jamie, and he plays with all these people.
I do know who you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, you go. I mean, I've seen some of the greatest musicians just walk in and start playing with people at the Family Watch. So I'm gonna go to.
Is great.
It's my last day in Nashville. I'm gonna go to a lot of different.
Too.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to a lot of different music places too. I want to hit up. I'm gonna go to Basement East, and I'm gonna go to. Well, maybe Where's
your favorite venue in town to take photos? Does it just depend who's doing their thing, or do you have a place that you find more magic in than other places?
Nah,
just wherever.
Just wherever. I mean, it's. I mean, I don't know. I like the Basement. It's pretty cool.
Sure.
That place has got a mystique about it that's pretty neat. I like it.
That's a pretty good day so
Yeah,
far.
it's a pretty good day so far.
Solid day.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
I got a really quick. Just this is off from where we usually ask people, but I want to ask you about taking shots. Have you ever
Which kind of
shot
shots?
a
Like
gun? Have you
this
ever
or-
shot a gun?
Yes.
Have you ever shot Everclear?
Yes.
Have you?
God.
Have you ever shot?
An animal.
No, I don't believe in that.
Have
will
you
not
ever?
I've never shot an
Okay.
animal.
Have you?
What do you?
ever,
So hold on. What do you mean you don't believe in it?
I mean, I just can't do it. I love animals. I just could never shoot one.
But you'll eat one, right?
That's different.
No, it's not.
Sure
Would
it
you
is.
shoot one to eat it?
It isn't
If
different,
I was
but it
hungry
is
enough-
different.
If I was hungry enough, I
Until
would.
you actually see until you see the moment, or you're actually there for it.
Let me put it this way: I just couldn't go out and go deer hunting. I
Sure,
think
okay,
deer are
it's not your
beautiful.
thing.
I would rather have the animal on my wall in a photograph than its head on my wall.
Well, but it's
I
not
got
about
you.
the head on the wall. It's about the stew meat and the chili. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm
not a big fan of venison, so
Right.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to kill a deer. That's not a big. I don't eat a lot of meat.
Pheasant?
Yeah.
Would you do a pheasant? A duck? How high? Well, let's see how high we'd go on the animal food chain.
It's the cute factor.
Yeah, could be. That's all
You know,
right.
I
factor.
really
I hear
don't.
you.
I really don't believe in killing anything. It's kind of a Buddhist thing, and it causes more suffering when you.
Sure.
It's better to just I don't even kill insects.
There you go.
Yeah.
Phew, I wanted to kill one. I saw a big old garden spider. Those big black ones with yellow spots over. It was big. It was big, and I was outside, and I was like, you know what? You're outside, and we'll let you do your thing. This is your territory, Mama. I mean, this thing was just a honker.
I
But anyways,
saw that at
so I
your
guess-
house. I saw the web that thing had.
Thing's
That thing was like the size
huge.
of a 50-cent piece.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's their domain.
Did you
I'll
kill
love
it?
No.
Okay, good.
No. That's her thing.
Awesome.
If she goes, my thing is, I heard there was a Buddhist monk one time that was talking about the whole thing. Like, I don't kill insects, but if it gets in the way of my foot, that's its own problem. And it's the idea that it's like if it finds its way in my home. No, actually, he said if it finds its way on the end of my newspaper, that's its own fault. Like, you know what I mean? Like if it's in his home, kind of thing. And I mean, I do think I've even turned a thing now where it's like I try to actually like capture the things and put them outside, but as I'm doing, I'm like, ugh, you know, that kind of thing. But I don't know.
when you do have to kill an animal, and Indians do this, I mean, grandfather told me the story.
Okay.
You honor the animal, you respect it before you kill. The way they do things now, they just, they just put animals in these
Process
thing. And that's not the way to do
Same
it.
thing they do to humans, man.
So
Well,
if,
right, but so to that point,
Grind
it,
them,
it
just,
would
here
be
you go.
It
Sit
would
here
be more
for 8
ethical
and
to
do your thing, and
in the grand scheme of things. It would be more ethical to go out and kill a deer as opposed to eat a burger at Dino's, right?
yeah, probably.
I'm just saying. I'm just I'm not like when I went pig hunting one time and I got a pig. I did, and I ate the whole damn thing. Like I had a freezer full of meat and I ate every single stitch of meat
think
that came from
if
it.
you're going to eat, but and that's the difference, isn't it? I mean, you're eating it. There's a lot of people that just go hunting. To not
sport
eat it.
hunting is
Sport hunting.
sport
Like,
hunting is
like those
like old Jimmy John's guy,
Yeah, and
just off the last like white rhino or something
Yeah.
like that.
I
So
mean,
I don't,
give me a break.
I don't know. That
you
could be
know?
completely fine. I've heard
let's,
that. So
let's get him. Let's put his head on the wall.
Eh,
okay?
you know what?
There's
No helping some people,
There's
and
this
those
guy-
people aren't going to change, and
this,
they'll get there someday.
This guy I
Oh.
follow on Instagram, he's a bow hunter, and he did this. He went and like out into Montana. It's already snowing up there or something.
Yeah.
And he was like a week by himself, like bow hunting, like trying to find this elk in the craziest
That stuff's
conditions,
epic.
just hiking for miles.
see,
and
there's the
miles
difference.
You earn
and
it. You earn it.
miles.
You earn it. You got a
And-
bow.
And
Oh.
and the thing is,
You
you're
have a
damn,
high velocity
and you're
rifle.
and you're damn sure
Yeah.
that guy respects the
Oh, yeah.
animal.
It was
and
amazing.
Respects that, yeah.
And he
So-
was doing Instagram stories the whole time, and like he had this one. There was one story where he had like a standoff with a bear. Like he was literally like he had his pistol, and then he was at his camera up like, "There's that bear. I really hope it doesn't charge at me
That's
again.
wild.
Like y'all might see my death right now. It's either
wild.
it was
So-
a good follow.
So can
Jo-
I?
go ahead.
Are we going off the air now?
No,
Oh,
we're
oh,
good.
okay.
I was just gonna tell people about how they can find you and stuff. But
Oh,
if you
cool.
got something else to say,
Well, what I'd like to say is, I have a show up right now.
yeah.
At Studio 208, 3rd Avenue North. It's Ashley Seagrove's studio, and I've got my Cuba stuff hanging there in her gallery through October, and then I have some more pictures hanging at the Post in East Nashville.
Great. That place is awesome.
Tanya's place, yeah, she's awesome, and so I've got stuff hanging there as well.
Are they prints, canvases?
They're metal prints hanging.
Oh, metal prints.
These are metal prints. I actually.
Do we bring some?
I did.
They're right here.
Oh, we got them.
Yeah, these are.
Oh, yeah.
These are metal.
Where did you have those made? Where'd you print them?
Amp printing in Nashville. I just went. Sorry, Matt.
Amp
Amp printing. Yeah, AMP.
Okay, I haven't heard of them.
Advocate printing. Yeah, they're amazing, and they do these amazing metal prints.
These are pretty cool. I like. Man, these are neat.
So why did you
this is the one
Why did
you
you
like.
choose? Yeah, why did you choose to do metal prints instead
Because
of
everybody's
canvases
printing
or...
on paper, and I wanted to do something different.
Dude, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I want to get a couple of these for home. Well, we got one of yours at home now, but
I gave Kelly one.
I know, man. That is so. I saw it, and I'm just like, I gasped.
She got
the farmers, man.
The
on the back of the truck.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Yeah. They're really.
So I didn't even pick it up. I haven't even touched. So is that one of the metal frame ones too, or is that just?
No, it's metal. Yeah.
Jeez,
it's
okay,
metal.
cool.
I like the metal prints. They're really cool. You know, when you can ship them, they're really light. They don't crease.
Yeah, the texture on it's beautiful too.
Yeah. But at Ashley's studio, we have great big 40 by 30 gigantic prints hanging on the wall.
That's great.
And it's just really cool. And Graham Nash came to the show at Ashley's.
Yeah.
And during Americana Fest, he was in town and he came by and we gave him a private showing. The bus pulled up and all the crew got out and all came upstairs. And
I love it.
me and Beth and Ashley were upstairs.
That's pretty wild.
Graham. And Ashley got a special piece of paper, a Japanese paper or something that she made. And instead of the normal guest list, she put that out. And so Graham and all the crew signed that. So that's like a really special kind of moment for me.
That's
all
pretty
my
wild.
Friends and
that's
Ashley.
fun,
Yeah,
man.
Ashley's very cool.
Yeah, I heard it was a great turnout.
Yeah. It's really, really cool.
That's a lot of fun.
So
you were dressed pretty snazzy too, I might add.
Oh, was I?
Wasn't that the one you were wearing?
I had the Beth and I had the Andrew made these incredible coats. Andrew Clancy and Andrew Klinger Clancy. Anyway, we had these coats that were like all these safety pins on them, and I bought one, and then he had another one, and I thought I have to get both of these. So it's like Beth and I wore them at the art show.
That's pretty. Yeah, it was great. It was really cool.
Beth English had them on, and it was like she looked better in it than I do. She looks classic in that.
That goes without saying, John.
She always looks good, you know.
Well, John, you know what looks good? Every photo that we've seen of yours tonight, and every photo we look forward to seeing of yours in the future. Man, keep it up, and everybody, Cuba. My World Ends Here by John Partipilo.
So when does the book come out?
Yeah, when's the book come out?
Well, we got the final proof today.
Yeah,
and I think
perfect timing.
I think it's gonna come out at the end of the month. Is that right? You think, Beth? Yeah.
3 to 4 weeks.
So
pre-orders now available at
johnpartipilo.com.
There you go. You can find them at JParty.
Will it be on Amazon or any?
Yeah,
other
eventually it's going to be all over the
distribution?
place because Morgan James Publishing is the publisher in New York that's doing it, and they're going to put it all over the place.
Cool.
And
Good.
It's really amazing. I was so lucky. We were so lucky to get a publishing. We were going to self-publish, and then we got a publishing deal. So
good.
Really
It
came out of
deserves
nowhere.
it. It should be. That thing needs legs, man.
Yeah.
It has them anyways,
Yeah,
and if
so-
it gets to the right people,
And it's
it'll
my
be-
first book, and so I'm like, I guess it's like I don't have any children, but I guess it's like having your first child.
Sure.
You're all sort of like,
Well, I've never written a book,
All
so I can't
woo-woo over
compare
your
the
book.
two. So,
Except
but
hopefully that book will make you money as opposed to taking your money.
suck you dry.
Suck
I
you
won't
dry.
have to send it. I won't have to send it to college. I
It's
guess.
nothing like having a child because that could actually make you money.
Oh my word!
Unless you get your child into like acting or something, and you know.
I think you guys got wonderful children. It's so wonderful.
Well,
So,
it is a joy, and I think
it
you have
is.
wonderful photos. So
Thank
I
you
guess
so
if we can
much.
compare them in that way, they both take a lot of effort and they take a lot of time putting into. That's just what it is. So you've done great work. You're a great individual, and in my eyes, one of the Nashville's, if not the country's greatest photographers. You've taken some remarkable stuff from.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Thank you for taking the time. Goodness, this was a lot of fun.
Well, I enjoyed it too. I enjoyed talking to you guys.
I wish we had some Jamesons.
I know. I wish I didn't
We
think. I was
should've
thinking.
been
Well, it
drinking
was
this
called
whole
taking
time.
shots. Nah, it's probably better we didn't. But But anyways,
We're definitely going to drink some after
episode.
this,
Okay,
though.
the follow up we do, because I think on the next one we need to get you and Beth in here
Well,
at
you're,
some point.
you're a big Jameson guy too.
Love Jameson.
I do too. That's the only Irish
Good,
whiskey.
clean.
I love it.
I like it's good.
I love Irish
it's,
whiskey.
It's my fallback.
the
We
only
got a
thing I
Jack
drink.
Daniels guy over here.
It's the only thing I drink. I don't drink
Or bourbon
beer or
in
anything.
general.
Yeah.
American.
Just how it is.
However, I have a friend that loves tequila, and,
like-
and she.
I like.
I,
Yep.
I
like
drank some really
bourbons.
cool tequila. Yeah.
Well, on that note, next time next time I see you and we're out at a bar, I'll buy you a shot of Jameson. Is that
Awesome.
cool?
I'll buy you one.
Oh, it'll be a fun night.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, we'll see you next week with Alan Thompson.
No, that's not next week.
Isn't that,
That's
yeah,
2
next
weeks
week.
from
That's
now.
2 weeks from now. Go ahead. Who's
Next
the-
week we have Abby Winsett.
That's right.
Community activist, fellow She's also a photographer.
She is.
You know Abby?
Yes. I
She's
know of her.
awesome.
She's awesome photographer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's really active in the community. Real socially minded motorcycle enthusiast.
There you go.
She loves getting on the road. So we're gonna have some fun.
Yeah, we'll see you Thursday, a week from tonight, which makes it the 19th of October. We'll see you at 9 p.m. or 9 p.m.-ish.
Ish.
CST. And Beth, thanks for being here and making sure all the technical stuff got taken care of.
She's amazing.
You know what? No, because I totally jinxed it by saying we don't have the technical stuff going on. There's just so much. But you know what? We
She's
have the
absolute-
resolve. And
I
we
wanna tell you
We had
something.
Beth English.
She's absolutely amazing. She's like one of the best things in my life. Good partner, friend.
I understand
Awesome.
why, and
Yeah.
I agree because she is for ours too. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
but
she's awesome.
Well, everybody,
Can't give her enough praise.
we can't give John Partipilo enough praise either. So check out his stuff. Keep an eye out. And until next time, everybody, be great to each other.
Won't.
It's a good one. Thanks, everybody. And John. That's right. See you all next week. Kisses, kisses, kisses.